Hello and welcome to episode 45 of the XboxEra Podcast. I am Sikamikanico and I'm joined, as always, by Shpeshal Ed.
What's going on?
He's going to stop that after like 3 episodes.
And Figments.
Hi.
Hi. You're like a Ross Geller, friends. Hi.
Or like that meme, that meme of that disheveled, shriveled up face, whatever it is. Yes, honey. Yes, honey.
We're back. We're back again
that one, yeah.
with another podcast. How are you both doing, gentlemen? I hope you are well.
Not bad.
Good.
Doing as well as I can be, I guess.
Been playing any video games of late, dare I ask?
Yes, I've actually been playing
Destiny.
a new game.
A new one?
No. I'm not talking about the same games. I started playing Control because of the upgrade that came out. And I'm annoyed now that I bought it on Xbox because Sony gave it away for nothing. And I'm like, I've got to play it on Xbox because I bought it there.
Yeah.
You know what? So far I'm enjoying it. And it's funny, when I first saw Control, I'm like, this just looks like DLC for Quantum Break. And I got to say, now that I'm playing through it, it's far more Alan Wake than it is Quantum Break, in my opinion. It feels more like Alan Wake, I think. I don't mind it.
I think I had a go at it, and I can't remember now. I don't think I've bought it. I think I might have got it free with a graphics card at some point. Might be my RTX 2070. Right. But then
Sounds about right.
I don't think I played through much. I just marvelled at its prettiness for a while. But, you know, now it's on Game Pass.
Oh, stunning game, especially at 60.
I'll give it a go.
Man.
I'll give it a go.
That's good. I don't mind it. And I like Metroidvanias, whether they're 2D or 3D, so...
Fair. So do I. What about you, Figments? Playing anything new and exciting, or just the same old?
Destiny, Yakuza. Started playing The Medium when it came out last Thursday. That's a really good game. Really good game. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. No pun intended. But beyond that, not really much. Oh my god, I actually have a story I need to
You need to get it off your chest?
The tale.
Please do.
So I was playing Modern Warfare with a full man team, so 6 people, all in one party, 2 or 3 nights ago. The last game when we were about to get off, it was a search and destroy match. We got into we were up 3-2. At that 3-2 mark, like right before we got that round win, I was sneaking around one of the objectives. Dude plants it, gets up, I kill him like instantly. He doesn't even know I'm there. And then I start defusing the bomb. And in classic Call of Duty fashion, I have 30 seconds left on that clock. I set the bomb down because it saves my progress. I go over to where this guy died and I start teabagging him. Right, middle of the match. So we're not even like close to winning yet. And then my entire team's yelling at me like, "What are you doing? You're just gonna make this harder for us." And so I go back, defuse the bomb. We get 3-2. Then the game starts becoming close. We're trading off points for the next 3 or 4 rounds until it comes down to 5-5. Final round. All of us are dead. We've the enemy team has planted the bomb, and we have one. It's a 1v1, and we have to go like defuse it because it's only got like maybe 25 seconds left on that clock, right? So my teammate manages to kill the last dude, and we're all like, "Oh, thank God! Just run to the bomb right now." So he runs over. And before he even picks up the bomb, it's at 10 seconds left. He starts pulling out his sprays and sprays a heart on the container right next to the bomb. Then picks up the bomb and starts defusing at 5.2 seconds left. And anyone who plays Search and Destroy in Call of Duty knows 5 seconds. 5 seconds is how long it takes to defuse the bomb. 5.0 seconds. He got that bomb picked up and started defusing 0.2 seconds before it would have cost us the game.
Wow. That's some dedicated trolling.
We were screaming the entire time. And when the match ended, we were just like, "Oh my god, we would have absolutely friggin' killed you if you cost us the game because of this."
It's stuff like that as to why I love video games. Like the banter between friends is second to none. And I've been playing Project Winter, which came to Game Pass this week. The developers, Other Ocean, were actually super generous folks. So mad props to them. They actually gave the XboxEra team here 8 codes with which we could actually get a bunch of custom games going, which we did, and found it very amusing. And last night I played with my IRL friends, and my god, within one match, once people got the hang of what to do, the trolling and the backstabbing was just, you could feast on it. It was so hilariously funny. Like I think there was one point where I'd been gone for something like 20 seconds because I was the traitor, and straight away, like, 2 of my guys were like, "Six the traitor," and they exiled me from the cabin. So I'm like, I'm sneaking around.
Is it kind of like Among Us?
It's very much like Among Us, except it kind of was in early access either 2019. Like early 2019, so it kind of came out the same time, because obviously, for those that don't know, Among Us didn't come out this year. It came out in 2019, so they were obviously both developed at the same time in silo. But I would say, having played both, Among Us is very one note, with very little depth. Like, it's still just as funny because of that social aspect, but Project Winter has a lot more going on under the hood. There's roles, there's other sneaky things you can do. But yeah, man, I would wholeheartedly recommend it if you've got a really good group of friends that are really close and know each other really well. It is a barrel of laughs. So even if you're scared of putting on a microphone, pick it up, give the game a go. It's free on Game Pass.
That reminds me. Awesome. Are you that's Among Us, right?
Among Us is Among Us is on PC Game Pass, but Project Winter is available on console and PC Game Pass. And I'd argue, if you're going to play a social betrayathon, Project Winter's the better game. Sorry, Among Us. That reminds
me of one of my favorite YouTubers, Mr. Sark. I watched like a couple of his archive streams from a few months ago, playing Among Us with all these old time YouTube guys like Cnanners, Gassy Mexican. I don't know if you guys even know these names, but they were like old machinima guys. They were old machinima guys who'd been around for like a decade plus.
Fair enough.
Just doing content creation, and one of the players was Chilled Chaos, and he has a reputation throughout this entire night. He had gotten the imposter about half the matches. It got to the point, it was so ridiculous, he had gotten it so much that people were just anticipating that he was going to be the imposter next. So for one round, they just decide to press the button and vote him out, like, immediately. just right off the bat, immediately.
That's the fun stuff. Yep.
The funny part is the person. The funny part was the person who hit the emergency button and initiated the vote to get chilled out was one of the imposters.
Amazing.
And he won that game. But it was just...
It's so worth playing these games, honestly. They're a different style.
It was funny hearing the banter between them. It was...
Yeah. I mean, and I think for those that watch Cage... I call him Cage, even though it's Card Game Maru, right? But he is planning to do a live stream, I think, this coming Tuesday, which would be the 9th of February. Hopefully with a few XboxEra folks, and hopefully we'll be able to invite some people from the community to come in and play, because you can create custom games with passwords on. So there should be some fun and entertaining banter from him that evening. Now, before we get into it here today, we know that there's a lot of people looking forward to the podcast, mostly because we've heard some super interesting stuff, which some of it's already out in the wild, but we're going to go through it later on. Before we get into anything, I want to do two things. One, get super serious for the moment, and just say, on behalf of everyone at XboxEra, to the team at Bethesda, our sincerest condolences for the loss of Robert Altman, your founder and CEO. Disheartening to hear in an already crappy 18 months that everybody is kind of living through. especially right before, and I think it was described in the letter from his son, a bittersweet moment of Microsoft swooping in. Hopefully it doesn't feel so much like swooping in and more like an old friend helping out. But
the letter didn't make it seem like
no,
it was
it
swooping
didn't.
in. It definitely sounded like it was something almost
that he wanted and was proud
like
of happening.
That they wanted it, yeah.
But it's obviously horrible news for everyone at that end. So, hearts go out to you, and I hope everyone in his family is coping okay. The second thing I want to say, before we get into everything we want to talk about today, is strap yourselves in. It's going to be a long one. Mostly because you guys have gone wild in community questions, and we're really going to have to think about implementing some
most
form
community questions we've ever had.
Some form of
I'm so sorry.
control.
We're not going to be able to get to them all. There's so many.
The podcast would be like
ridiculous.
3.5 hours long, and we're going to have to call it. If the community questions get to this level, we're going to have to think of something else. Like, I don't know, but we'll figure it out.
I don't think we thought it through. I don't think we think it would get to this point where we'd be getting this many on a weekly basis. I know, fortnightly basis, but
yeah, it's cool.
Man.
It's cool. So the first piece of interesting news from the last 2 weeks is the long dead or thought dead, but often we've seen screenshots, we've seen like a few bits and pieces on it over the years of Goldeneye, the remake from N64 leaked.
Someone's been watching our podcast, because on the Christmas episode I did with Jeff Grubb, we talked about the Goldeneye port. Fascinating. I said in that episode, I said at the time, I go, why doesn't someone just Half-Life it? Half-Life Dreamcast it. The game is made, it's done. So I don't know how many of you know the story behind Half-Life on Dreamcast, but the game got made, I think, by Gearbox.
Yeah.
And it was made for Dreamcast. It was printed on discs. The discs were in a warehouse, ready for release, ready to ship out. Game got cancelled. It was just cancelled. Kind of like NBA Live, which was the NBA Live that like even review copies got out and then it got cancelled.
Wasn't it because the Dreamcast itself was shut down effectively, and that's why they cancelled the game? I can't remember what the sequence of events was. It wasn't that.
No. It was just the game was cancelled. So someone leaked it online. You could just download the ISO, burn it to a disc, and play Half-Life on your Dreamcast. So in this podcast episode, I said, why doesn't someone just do that with GoldenEye? Like, it's never going to release because Dan Jack don't want it to release. Bastards. And it's done. Why doesn't someone just leak it? Get it out there. Because, look, leaking it's going to do one of two things. It's either going to allow people to finally play it, which they are, or it's going to cause Dan Jack to turn around and go, oh, hold on a second. This is out there now. People are playing it. They want it. They love it. Let's get it out officially so we can start making money out of this.
Duh.
Yeah. Hopefully. Hopefully. That's what it forces. So, and not long after that episode, or around the same time, it leaked online.
It's the part of the podcast where nobody has Nick's business sensibilities, so everyone should just listen to him.
Yeah.
Well, they should, because someone did. And like the thing is, they've been sitting on this port for years.
It's weird, isn't it? But
that is the coincidence of all coincidences. Maybe I'm the leaker.
Well, I've got to imagine, though, it's not the same situation, really. It's going to be sitting on a hard drive somewhere.
Yeah.
Someone with access to that hard drive has to be the person that leaked it. So in some ways, I'm surprised it ever released at all, because that's pretty ballsy to just be like, I'll just throw it out there.
Like,
so
theoretically,
someone's in trouble.
It should be easy to find out who did this.
Yeah.
Theoretically.
I wonder if
which then begs the question: is this a Ryan Reynolds Deadpool situation? So, Ryan Reynolds, they put together the Blur CG trailer for Deadpool as a pitch to Fox. Fox were like, we're not going to make this movie, dickhead. And then Ryan Reynolds was like, oh, really? And then leaked the trailer onto YouTube.
The power of the internet.
Oh, no. It wasn't Ryan Reynolds who leaked it. It was someone else, even though Ryan Reynolds all but admitted to it. They leaked the trailer on YouTube. Trailer went nuts. Absolutely nuts. And then Fox was like, oh, maybe we were wrong about this. And they went and made Deadpool. So I wonder if this was a Deadpool situation where they're like, you know what, let's just leak this, make it, because it's super easy to get it and run it. It runs on Xenia, the 360 emulator for PC, and it runs on modded 360s.
Yep.
And it runs and it looks great. And
let's hope that someone out there is sensible and pushes for an actual retail release so we can all be odd job again.
That's what I'm saying. I'm hoping that Danjak will turn around and go, oh, we're losing money right now. Like, people are playing this anyway. We may as well get the official port out there and make money out of it.
Yep. It makes sense to me. Speaking of things coming back from the dead, I loved that segue so much. Stubbs.
That's why I put it in that order.
I appreciate
That's why I put it in that order.
Stubbs the Zombie, the classic OG Xbox game, is coming back out of nowhere. And this is where things
I have no
get
idea what this
interesting.
game is, and
I've never played it. I know it, but I've never played it.
Fun fact, it was made using the Blam engine, which was the original engine for Halo.
The only game
CE.
to use it outside Halo.
Correct. Now, it was a unique little title for the OG Xbox. It's coming back, and this is where things get slightly interesting. And you haven't put this on the list, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. This is being developed and released by
Aspyr.
Aspyr, right?
I don't know how you pronounce their name.
Which are also rumoured to be remaking or doing the Knights of the Old Republic. I nearly said just KOTOR then, because most people know what that means, but Knights of the Old Republic remaster remake. There's rumours out there swirling, and you've got to wonder.
Lots of rumours about Aspyr.
Well, you've got to wonder if they're making this and it's purely for Xbox. Is the Knights of the Old Republic thing purely for it? I don't know.
I know. I will say, isn't it funny though? I put it in the article, my first news article.
It's only been a year and a half.
Still
want more than Figments.
Aspyr were actually the original publisher of Stubbs the Zombie. So they weren't the original developer, but they were original publisher, and now they're the developer of the remaster.
Fascinating.
I just thought that was the nice symmetry.
Wow.
You know, what do they call it in The Lion King?
That is interesting. So looking forward to playing that. It's coming out March 16th was the date.
March 16th.
It's got achievements. I would imagine it will be coming to Game Pass anyway, so it's another little freebie of history that you can dive into 20 years ago.
Speaking of Game Pass.
This is so... We're on it tonight. We're cooking.
Nick, you actually formulated this correctly.
I did it all in that order for that reason. It makes it easier to do nasty segues.
I love the nasty segues. If you like our segues, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Falconeer is coming to Game Pass, or is already on Game Pass. I should rephrase this entirely.
It's on Game Pass, and it coincides with the big Hunter update.
Yes, which I understand you've been playing and got some early access to.
Falconeer was released back launch Series X, right?
Yes. Okay. Launch day. Yeah, and it's had a few updates since then. I think it's had two major content updates and a bunch of smaller updates. But between the Kraken and the Hunter, it's come a long way.
Yep,
it's come a long way. It's
Thomas is like a man with a bad tooth. You can't leave it alone, and he keeps tweaking it, much to everyone's pleasure. And it was really nice actually. He's on our forums, is Thomas, and the amount of people suddenly the Falconeer OT came back to life, and people were like, "Oh, this is on Game Pass now! Oh my god, I'm really enjoying it." And I think Thomas is a big fan of Game Pass right now, which is great. You know, he's a solo dev. He works on that for ages, and it's really, really wonderful to see a lot of success and a lot of people playing his game, which I think for any creator has got.
And we didn't know it was coming to Game Pass. Like, we asked him back when we first had him on our show. We were like, just tell us, is it coming to Game Pass? He's like, not as far as I know. Like, he was not telling us anything, no matter what we tried to get out of him. He wouldn't tell us.
Yeah, he's a top man, and I wish him all the very best. And I look forward to. I'm kind of waiting. I was waiting for a lull in games. I've just finished the campaigns from Hitman 3, which I really enjoyed. So I think Falconeer might be my next game to just sort of sit down and actually fully play through. Because I've had a go. I played a bit for the stream, and I played a little bit elsewhere. But I was like, there's a bunch of extra patches. I think this is the moment where I'm going to dive in and or fly in.
Now it's where Thomas probably wanted it all along.
Yeah.
Like, it's at a good spot now with all the features, and the quality of life updates have made a big difference. Like, I think in my review I said, like, you know, it'd be nice to have more fast travel opportunities. It'd be nice to be able to set your own markers on the map. You can do all that stuff now. Like, it's all there now, so it's good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
The other thing that was a byproduct of Game Pass and all the success that it is seeing, and I just thought this was interesting to mention. EA had their financial call, end of year financial call, whatever they do, quarterly call, and I think EA Play, as a net result of being included within Game Pass, saw a huge jump in numbers, something like
massive.
6.5 million.
6.5 mil.
I can't remember, so don't quote me on it.
Something like that.
Now,
Significant.
Did they specify that it was a jump in numbers because people also started subbing to EA Play?
No.
Or is it a
I
jump
don't
in
believe
numbers
so.
specifically as a result of people downloading EA Play games in Game Pass?
I think, and I'm paraphrasing here, it was driven by the inclusion in Game Pass. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Take
it
that
wasn't like people subbed to Game Pass, saw EA Play was part of it, started playing some of those games, and then subbed to EA Play separately.
No, this. You could take this as anyone on Game Pass Ultimate is now a member of EA Play. Ergo, they got an extra 6.5-7 million subscribers straight away. Done, which is cool. Good for them. Now, where are we? What else? Oh, Nick, have you been right about anything this week?
Yeah. So isn't that funny? I put out that tweet a while back. Although to be fair, I was shouting out our friend Rand, who still calls me mediocre head for some reason, and it's really annoying. I said Rand is right because Rand predicted that there'd be a Hot Wheels pack for Forza Horizon 4. Me forgetting that I was told about that back in December, I was like, I put out a tweet saying, yeah, Rand is actually right. There is going to be a Hot Wheels pack or Hot Wheels DLC for Forza Horizon 4. Again, I do choose my words very carefully. I never said it was going to be an expansion or a car pack. I just said DLC. Turns out it's just the car pack that's coming. Windows Central did their article on it. So, yeah, just for the record, like, I rely very heavily on my sources. So when I word something in a certain way, that is the way they have told me I can say it. So for those because a lot of people ask me questions and say, oh, is it this, is it that? If the way I've said it for a very specific reason, which will lead to something we're going to talk about soon. So we'll mention it again later. But yeah, so there was a reason I said Hot Wheels DLC and not an expansion or something more specific.
Yeah.
I mean, I think when we did the article for the site, we said the word expansion, and it's an expansion car pack. You know, like, because we can only report what we've heard, and it is what it is.
But most people assume they're talking about the tracks, like Forza Horizon 3.
Yeah, I
the
definitely
full-on
assumed
tracks,
that.
the loops, and all that sort of stuff.
It's a shame it's not, really, to be honest with you. But never mind. Can't have everything. Speaking of that wonderful bout of laughter you just expressed there.
Oh my God! Don't use the laughter as a segue here.
Something else.
I mean, we're all laughing.
It's a pretty funny note, though.
We're all laughing at Stadia failing. So I don't think you need to segue from my laughter.
Well, yeah. I mean, for the record, everyone in our notes, it just has Stadia lol.
Okay, so
we should be less mean.
Let's start this off not on a bad foot here. So it's come out over the last week or 2 weeks, I think. I can't remember if it was either earlier this week or last week.
It was just the other day.
Was it just the other day? Google has announced they're shuttering most, if not all, of the internal Stadia development studios.
Jade Raymond is let go.
And Jade Raymond is let go. Likely in a pivot to focusing on providing platform support and what is it?
Streaming
Evangelizing
platform. Yeah,
for third-party titles. Yeah. Which
in effect,
hey, this. I want a show of hands in this podcast right now. Who didn't already figure this was probably going to happen?
Of course, we all did.
We all knew.
The entire gaming universe was like, "Come on!"
This is like Google is the worst candidate for pioneering any new thing in gaming. Like, period.
It wasn't because of Google. It was Phil Harrison.
Google is famous for quitting stuff.
Yeah.
KilledByGoogle.com.
If it doesn't instantly make them $1 billion, it's not worth keeping, according to Google. So
I mean, like,
the thing that gets me though. Yeah, the thing that gets me is like how Google initially positioned Stadia as a console killer. Like, why would you even need a console when you can just buy your game on Google and play it on your phone, on your TV, on your tablet?
But the principle is sound. That principle is sound. That's a sound principle.
It's a sound principle, but it's not a killer of console. It's not a killer of consoles, is the point. Like, even Microsoft knows that with game streaming on xCloud. Like, the console, the xCloud is not going to replace the console.
It's additive, not
in addition to the console. It's an option you can go with if you want to be able to take your games on the go.
Yeah,
but that's it. They know when you're finally back home, you're going to want to be playing on a box.
Yeah. So I agree. Somewhere down the line, yes.
Somewhere way down the line, there will no longer be a need for a console.
But that day is not anytime soon.
No. For the foreseeable future, it's a complementary service for the foreseeable
Which is why
future.
Google positioning it the way they did reminds me of all the failed attempts to do something like this before, like OnLive, if you guys even remember that from the early 2010s. I thought that at the time, I thought that was a cool idea, right? But at the end of the day, no one bought anything on it, and the service died within 4 or 5 years. So not even. So positioning Google should have done a lot of things. First of all, not shuttering their internal studios is one. Actually putting development resources and time and money and patience into the project to get it up to where it needs to be anything close to a console killer. But Google wasn't willing to invest that time and money because Google fundamentally does not care. Which brings up a point about who Microsoft is competing against in acquisitions, in content delivery, in streaming services, in anything like that for games. Who is it? Because Amazon Luna is still getting off the ground, so we don't know where that's going to go yet. Google Stadia has proven time and time again to be nothing but a failure for most people. And who's left? PS Now? PS Now hasn't been relevant for years.
All right, well, look, there's a lot to unpack here. If you look at the timeline of events, this was inevitable. When Google were first teasing Stadia, they did so, and remember their big red carpet launch thing that they did, and they had these glass cases along the side of the red carpet, and they teased it with a stream of failed products and consoles. So they were the history of video gaming.
Oh my god! I even saw an article
Atari,
about
Nintendo Power Glove.
I even saw an article about how the Google managers in charge of putting that event together didn't even know what the hell they were talking about or what the hell they wanted. So they had a theme that worked originally, which was cool and interesting things in gaming history, and then they pivoted the theme at almost the last moment, and then they pivoted the theme again. So then by the time it got to that open presentation, it was a mishmash of basically nothing but failures.
I think the best thing to come out of all of this was Jeff Grubb's Mission Complete Agent 47 to just Phil Harrison.
And this is what I'm saying. I was about to say this. Not only do they not understand something. So Microsoft, the only reason Microsoft still exists in gaming, there's ultimately 3 reasons. One, the people that were running Xbox, so Seamus and Ed Fries and Ed and all these other people, they kind of actually legitimately cared about gaming and kind of got it.
Yep.
They also, Microsoft, never underestimate Microsoft when they want to throw money at something. Like, as Seamus was very smart. As soon as Seamus said, oh, Sony's threatening the home PC market, whoa, we better be... Bill was like, throw unlimited money at it. Bill was like, kill it. Throw whatever money needs to be thrown, throw it.
Like, the strength of Xbox came from a lot of the OG Xbox guys knowing how Microsoft worked and knowing how gaming worked. Because you combine the knowledge of those two together, and you can turn Microsoft into a weapon that you wield with a force to be reckoned with. You know what I mean?
And the third thing was Halo.
Yeah.
They had Halo. If they didn't have Halo, then Xbox doesn't.
Then they didn't have it. They didn't have anything. Yeah.
So Google didn't have those things. They didn't have a person that got gaming because they had Phil Harrison. They weren't willing to just throw unlimited amounts of money at it.
Yeah.
And they didn't have an exclusive game worth a damn. So they literally didn't have the only three things Microsoft had. And remember, Microsoft bled billions on the first Xbox. Absolute. Google, I said this back in 2019. Google were never going to invest enough money in it.
Yeah.
They were never going to. It was never going to happen. As a matter of fact,
they weren't being driven and led by people who actually wanted to make a good product. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's right.
Google was led by the CFO on this decision. I'm not saying like actually, but more metaphorically. They were led by their pocketbook. That was it. Like, they only got into it because they saw dollar signs at the mobile market and said, we can capitalize on that with traditional games. And then
they
completely and utterly failed to understand all the market.
And they weren't even willing to throw enough money into it anyway.
Yeah. I think,
and it's funny. I found a post of mine from the Discord back when it was launched saying if Google was smart, they never would have bothered with a commercial version. What they would have done was made it purely wholesale, business to business, and said, okay, Ubisoft, you want to launch a streaming service? Do it on Stadia. Hey, EA, you want to do your own streaming service? Do it on Stadia. That was the angle Google should have taken, which I think they are now doing.
That's exactly what they're doing. I think the other thing with this, you talk about who's going to compete against Microsoft, and this is the thing that I think more than anything else in the current sphere of the big players, Microsoft, PlayStation, Nintendo, when you watch people discuss this topic on forums, is until the last 2 years, Microsoft has never, ever, ever been all in on gaming. And now they are. It is a pillar of their business. It sits next to Office, Windows, and Azure. The difference that a Microsoft-backed Xbox is going to make has arguably already been felt with the ZeniMax acquisition, and is going to be felt even more because they want to do exactly what companies like Netflix have already done, which is be first and arguably be best and
be everywhere.
Now,
everywhere.
This does lend that. Are they going to release exclusives on PlayStation? Are they going to release multi-platform? I still think no, because you're not driving customers to subscribe to you at that point. You are kind of, because those games are going to come day one. I think at a minimum you'll see year-long exclusivity or 6 months or something like that. But people don't get it yet. They talk about who's Sony going to buy to counter? Who's this company going to buy to counter? Unless you're Tencent or Amazon, no one is going to be able to counter to that degree.
The only way I see Sony competing with this is if they get lucky and get a lot of money somehow, or they do a partnership with Tencent and merge.
I mean,
exactly.
Didn't Sony need a loan? I think Sony needed a loan just when they were going for Leiyu, and Leiyu's not big. Like, I've said this before, Nintendo and Sony aren't going to be able to compete on that level.
No.
And
it's a matter of time before...
Sony's kind of lucky, though.
Yeah.
Sony has gotten lucky in the fact that Google's basically out. That's one less of the big boys to compete with. Amazon, I think, are shaky at the moment.
Especially now they've got a new CEO.
From everything I've heard from the Amazon camp, Amazon is bleeding developers. I think I saw an article a couple weeks ago talking about how like they don't treat their developers. It's a circus. It's a madhouse. They don't treat the developers right. They don't care about any sort of legitimacy within the sphere. They are purely in it to grind people to make them money, just like they do their warehouse workers. But that's a conversation for another time. So
but
it's
the funniest part is both Google and Amazon had leverage that Microsoft never did. So Google
and they
has
just constantly
YouTube
screwed up.
gaming, and Amazon have Twitch, and Amazon haven't even been leveraging Twitch all this time.
Yeah,
it's like,
it's bizarre.
Are you doing?
It's bizarre.
I imagine it takes a while to get the wheels turning, but
and what's funny too is like this entire conversation is happening, and we're basically ignoring stuff like Apple Arcade for mobile, or what is it?
I also wouldn't discount Apple getting involved in all these acquisitions.
Oh no, I think the way Apple. I think Apple is positioned more like Google and Amazon are getting too invested too quickly and doing it solely for the purpose because they see, again, the dollar signs in their eyes, looking at how much money the market is making in gaming, and then doing it wrong. Whereas Apple with Arcade, however much you don't like Apple or however much you think Arcade is a waste of time, they're getting their feet wet but not diving in all the way. They are
slowly
and surely. And at some point, we're probably going to start seeing news of Apple has acquired this big developer.
Yeah.
Apple has it could even be, I mean, they're $1 trillion company. How many dollar signs would it take for Nintendo to give up and Apple just says, we own Nintendo now? You know what I mean?
I was just about to say, here's a bold prediction. I reckon Apple might have a crack at buying Sony or Nintendo.
Yeah.
Either Sony as a whole, because I doubt Sony would let go of PlayStation individually.
Yeah.
Or Nintendo. I mean, it's an open secret that Microsoft's trying to buy Nintendo repeatedly.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
maybe Apple's willing. Maybe Apple's willing to throw enough dollar signs up for Nintendo to go, you know what? We're with you now. So
I don't think so. Switch is doing really well.
Switch is doing really well, but Apple is $1 trillion company too, and Nintendo's what? Maybe 100 billion, maybe less.
About 85 to 100.
I would like to think somewhere, and maybe this is extraordinarily naive of me, that somewhere still in the heart of Nintendo, all they really truly care about deep down is just making fun toys. Because not just games, toys.
Yeah.
You know, being for kids and for grown-up kids too. I think that they still, in my heart, still have that image for me because they do really stupid stuff. And, you know, as an adult, I get really, really angry. But then when you see the look of joy on kids' faces when they play a Nintendo product, I set up, and it's not for kids, it's for my wife. I set up Ring Fit Adventure this evening. And, you know, even it's an exercise game, but it's doing its damnedest to make you fall in love with it. It tries its best to be a fun game as well as an exercise. I don't know. Like, I agree. There are lots of what-if scenarios, and there are lots of big trillion-dollar entertainment-focused companies who we've seen pivot from just making phones to just making phones and tablets to just making phones, tablets, laptops, and now we're making our own original TV series for our own Netflix.
Well, yeah.
Is gaming the next logical step? And it's possibly, yeah.
Well, they've got
honestly, I think at this point, like 10 years from now, the gaming landscape is going to look a lot different than what it is right now. And I think we're going to see Game Pass leading the pack. But if Apple makes the right moves over the next decade, we might see the gaming industry for most people be dominated by Apple, Microsoft, probably even Facebook if Quest VR takes off even more than it already is, because it's gaining steam a lot. So Sony, Nintendo probably still there, but I think for anyone,
I think someone will pick one of them up at least. Like, I think Apple would be more likely to acquire Sony than Nintendo, because I think so too. Because Sony's not just Sony's not just games. Sony is games, music, movies, TV,
and hardware. They are a hardware company.
Yeah.
They're a hardware company, much like Apple is a hardware company.
I'll tell you why.
So it's shared blood.
I'll tell you why in this weird, crazy tangent universe where Apple of all companies buys Sony, the real reason why isn't for all of those. Is because just like Apple fans, Sony fans are also stupidly loyal to an insane degree. Yeah. That's why.
It's a perfect marriage. Like, if you think about it, the Bravia TVs, like Sony's TV division, I think it's been doing better, but it's still not.
Yeah, imagine if an acquisition, if Sony, imagine if Samsung acquired Sony and in their TVs they put Apple TV built in.
That's right.
With the latest A series chips, so those TVs can play games now without any box attached.
Yep.
That's not an impossibility. I could probably see that happening.
For the record, this was a longer Stadia lol tangent than I had originally planned in my life.
Yeah. Wow.
But I mean, because it has a lot to do with what the future of the industry is going to look like too. Because
we went into the
now we know
end,
Stadia. Now we know for a fact. Like before, we were like, yeah, Stadia's not going to go anywhere. But now we know for a fact Stadia's not going to go anywhere. So it's like now we can just speculate on. Okay, well, in 10 years, the industry is probably not going to have Google like sitting anywhere close to the top in it.
No. Well,
like speaking
of groundbreaking industry changes and things going to places they've never been before, MLB The Show is now... I'm loving these segues today. I'm sucking them in. I'm tackling... Oh, I'm loving it.
Why are so many people acting like this is surprising, though?
No, I know people are acting
It was announced... No, not just a year ago. I think it was a year or 2 years ago, actually. Because
late 2019.
It was MLB. So MLB had their own game series that they were publishing by themselves that were multi-platform called the RBI stuff.
Yeah.
And RBI is way more cartoony than most of the MLB game fans, like the video game fans, actually like. So the show was still immensely popular. And 2K dropped baseball a while ago. So it had been MLB The Show or bust for the for Major League Baseball. And it's just now that they're finally like realizing, hey, you know what? Sony stands to make a lot of money with MLB The Show, right? They make millions of dollars year in and year out. And we have no one else that's licensing the baseball ticket. So why don't we just pull the purse strings a little bit and say, hey, we're going to pull the license for MLB The Show if you don't put it on every single thing under the sun. Because RBI was failing. It wasn't doing as well as The Show by any stretch of the imagination. And MLB basically just has Sony in its pocket at this point because Sony makes a lot of money off of The Show every year. There's no reason for that to be exclusive to PlayStation.
And it will be crossplay.
Not anymore
as well, crossplay included. Which is I must be weird for the Sony folks to have a bunch of Xbox dev kits in their studio.
It's got my boy Tatis on the cover. Oh my God!
I don't know baseball.
Tatis is a San Diego native, plays for the San Diego Padres, and that is okay. Nice. So there was a whole last season. Last season was one of the best seasons we've had in San Diego for a long time, and Tatis and every single one of the other people on that team were at the forefront of that change. And Tatis himself was the man who single-handedly coined Slam Diego for getting repeated grand slams in a single game, multiple games in a row. No, you're not. I know you're
Hey Nick, watch this. Watch this.
I don't know.
Speaking of grand slams, in the acquisition world, Gearbox have been acquired by, drumroll, Embracer Group, the biggest acquirer in the world. They're like 50 companies now.
Isn't that funny, eh? I put that tweet out only like 3 days earlier.
Yep.
And it's funny, when I put that tweet out saying, you know what, I wouldn't be surprised if Gearbox got acquired. two things. That tweet got barely any attention at the time. Number two, people assumed I was talking about Microsoft. I never said Microsoft for a very specific reason. Jez actually replied to that tweet saying, oh, it's not going to be by Microsoft. I just let it go. But then after they got acquired, Clobberl replied to that tweet saying, well, this aged pretty well.
This
and
aged
all of a
fine.
sudden that and all of a sudden that tweet just started getting a hell of a lot more likes and stuff. So thanks, Clobberl, for that one. Yeah. But this goes back to what I was saying earlier. I word stuff very, very specifically. Yes, they were definitely in talks with Microsoft. Like, it was close with Microsoft. Tencent was also involved. But I was told that it's not 100% Microsoft's going to get them. They're trying, but it's not 100%, which is why I only said they're going to be acquired, not by whom.
Yeah, and I'm kind of secretly glad that Microsoft didn't get them.
A lot of people are. A lot of people are. Like, even before they were acquired, people were replying to that tweet going, oh, but Randy and...
pretty much.
Yeah. And
Randy wouldn't last long in a Microsoft-run world.
No,
sorry, Randy.
My guess is that the reason they didn't end up with Microsoft, if I had to guess, is Microsoft wanted a Minecraft situation. So with Minecraft, they said to Notch, yeah, piss off, mate, and got rid of Notch, but kept Mojang and Minecraft. This would have been the same. Microsoft would have been like, we want Gearbox, we want Borderlands. Randy, you can piss off.
Yeah.
And Randy would have been like, no.
He's got like 51% share.
Or something like that. It's like, I'm not going anywhere. So then Microsoft would have been like, and Embracer would have been like, yeah, cool, we don't care. And
because Embracer doesn't, because I bet the whole thing with Randy is just like, they don't want his baggage. Like, he is well known in the industry and not very well liked. So
it wouldn't surprise me for someone to at him and point him to this and timestamp it, and then for him to say something snarky and derogatory. Hi, Randy. You're not very well liked.
Hi, Randy. You're not well liked.
I don't know. I'd wager that Randy had something to do with them not ending up with Microsoft.
Yeah, because frankly, Microsoft could outbid most, if not all, really. If they really wanted them.
Especially Embracer. Like, if they wanted Gearbox that badly, they would have got them.
Yeah, simple. They
would have got them.
And Borderlands would have driven Game Pass subscriptions to a degree. Borderlands is very popular.
Can you look how big they made Minecraft? Like, Minecraft was already pretty big before they bought them, but look at Minecraft now.
Yeah, it's bonkers.
Like, imagine what they could have done with Borderlands.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, would have been. And again, I'm not even a Borderlands fan. I don't like Borderlands at all, but I'm well aware of its popularity. It's more popular than people think.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And with Microsoft's backing, it would have just exploded. And that's probably why Gearbox maybe. I mean, look. We don't know who Gearbox would have preferred, but I'd be shocked if Gearbox, having had that relationship with Microsoft in the past, if your options are Embracer, Microsoft, Tencent, Google, whatever, I'd be surprised if Gearbox wouldn't have preferred Microsoft.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised.
Agreed.
But yeah. And speaking of Embracer,
we're just lining them up and knocking them down. It's great. Aspyr got acquired. We mentioned them earlier in the show. These are the guys that they made. They're rumored to be doing the KOTOR remake.
Yeah.
And they're currently.
I think they also did like those. Like Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, the remasters.
Yeah, they did the mobile port.
Maybe I think so.
Of KOTOR as well.
Yeah.
Jedi Academy too,
and
right? Or is it someone else?
Something like that, yeah.
And Stubbs the Zombie, the remaster or whatever that may be. So, they're now part of the Embracer group. So you strike them off your lists, Microsoft fans.
What is Embracer's endgame?
I think it's just a shadow corporation of Microsoft, and they're going to just be like, oh yeah, we've been acquired.
Well, that's the joke I made. I made a joke that feels like, all right, guys, I can't be bothered acquiring 57 studios. Can you go and do it? And then we'll just buy you when you're done. That's the joke I made.
It's an insane amount of IP that Embracer Group must have.
But again, to what end? Here. Like, are they going to start their own streaming service? Are they going to I don't know. Are they just going to be one of the largest publishers?
Maybe they see the writing on the wall. Everything's going to go subscription. They sign an exclusive deal for all of their titles.
Embracer is THQ?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are they getting the money for all these acquisitions?
I know.
Who knows?
Who's giving them that money?
Phil Spencer. Back pocket,
Phil.
back alley deal.
Maybe it's Microsoft. Maybe Embracer is like an offshore shell company that Microsoft made, and they're doing all these acquisitions with it. I don't know, because it's weird.
Yeah, or maybe maybe Phil's gearing up to leave Microsoft and join the Embracer crew, and he just wants to work with lots of smaller IPs and leave the big AAA life behind. Speaking
the
of
number
leaving
of studios they've got, they could service Game Pass better than Microsoft can now.
Yeah, well, I wonder if they're going to be making deals with subscription services for their titles. That wouldn't surprise me.
I guess the legacy of THQ just keeps living on for the rest of eternity. Like if Nordic ever fails, someone else is going to buy the name, and then we're going to have another THQ.
Maybe they're going to use Stadia as the back end for their future streaming service. Who knows?
Well. Speaking of leaving things behind, some
all these friggin' segues need to stop.
Just enjoy it. Just
this
embrace
is the last one.
Embrace it like Embracer do, yeah. Drew Murray announced earlier on Twitter this week that he's leaving Perfect Dark's remake studio, The Initiative. Now, he did this in a 5 tweet thread. Suffice to say, it's not because he's leaving gaming. He's leaving for personal reasons. I don't want to get too much into it because, frankly, it's none of our business, right? What I will briefly comment on, and we wish him all the very best. We can't wait to see what Perfect Dark looks like when it comes out in a couple of years, whatever the case may be. What I would like to briefly touch on is the amount of toxic Twitter fanboys that immediately point to, I think I saw one tweet, rats leaving a sinking ship from... Yeah. I don't even want to talk about him because I posted a tweet out that was just my opinion earlier this week, and it did fairly well for one of my tweets because I don't really know or understand Twitter at all. I'm old and I don't care. But someone tagged him, and then I just had my phone, over 100 notifications of just arguments between stupid fanboys, both from the Xbox camp and the Sony camp. You're all idiots. Shut the hell up. But when those toxic fanboys point to stuff like this and make those kind of jokes and they don't know the reason, and the reason being a personal one or a loss in the family, get out of here, man. Grow the hell up. It's disgusting. It really grinds my gears. I want Peter Griffin next to me. You know what really grinds my gears? So, yeah, but we wish Drew Murray the very best. Can't wait to see what he had been working on.
But, I mean, even if we take personal reasons away, people leave jobs, man.
No. It's the end of the studio.
People leave jobs.
It's the end of the studio.
There was someone recently that just left Naughty Dog. They announced it on Twitter. And I'm like, I guess the next Naughty Dog game's in trouble, isn't it?
According to rabid internet fanboys, if the janitor leaves, then the entire studio is getting shut down.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. That kind of discourse just needs to stop. Yeah, it's not good. Speaking of discourse,
half of old Naughty Dog is at Initiative right now.
I know.
That
doesn't work that way around. But speaking of discourse, if you want to join a friendly and outgoing and wonderful community, although they were a bit ruckus last night, I have to admit, there was some moderation that had to go on. If you're listening to this podcast and you are not a member of the XboxEra forums yet, you should probably go and sign up because it's awesome and they're a really lovely bunch. We're really proud of everybody that's actually come into that community. Since we've been live in an entire year, we've only had to ban 8 out of, I think, nearly over 1,600 people now. And I think 6 of those were straight away spam accounts, and 3 of them were 2 of them were trolls that basically outed themselves over a period of time. Because unlike other forums, we do not let our trolls just sit idly by. We deal with bad faith posting straight away because no one wants to read your shit. And I guess,
and also the system does it for us automatically. So
And also, I should probably say that if you want to support us directly, you can do so via Patreon. We've recently added a new $1 tier for those that just want to chuck us a buck or a quid or whatever your parlance is. Because it does help us keep the lights on, keep the servers running. The added benefit now is that if you are a Patreon, you don't get any adverts whatsoever on Xbox Era forums at all, so your browsing experience can remain unhindered by Google AdSense, which we've also had some horrible trouble with over the last 24 hours, and we put some fixes in place, so people experiencing problems, because I have ads when I browse my forum, because I want to experience it the way you guys do so I can keep an eye on things. I was experiencing the same stuff. We've taken some action to get that sorted. And speaking of our Patreon, Everything's a Segue today. I love it. That's the name of this podcast, is Everything's a Segue. I want to say a quick thank you to our patrons, particularly our tier 2s and our tier 3s. Everyone that subscribes and donates to Xbox Era, they're all awesome, and thank you very, very much. But the tier 2s and 3s, Scarecrow121, Torn Raptor, Nottian, Sowing Shade, Blast the Bass, Keris, Big M Iced Coffee, must be an Aussie. Nick noticed that straight away. Thank you to all you guys for all of your support. We will be doing a refresh again. We do it every 3 months for the MVP t-shirt and the sticker packs. So thank you very much for your support. We love you very much. Now, having said all of that, I think we're probably getting to the meat and potatoes, and maybe just for lols, I won't put a timestamp in this week, so people have to scan through all 2 hours to find the section that they want, which is going to be this bit. Ed, I hear there's a rumour mill this week.
Yeah, there's a pretty meaty rumour mill this week.
Chunky rumour mill.
And it's funny, all these rumours kind of came from the same source. And I said to him, oh, look, shouldn't I spread this out maybe over a few episodes? He's like, nah, do it all in one hit. I'm like, oh, okay. So I made a sticky note in Windows to keep it, because I'm old and I forget stuff. I'm going to tell a story. So I got told, I've shown John the DM and he laughed when he saw it. So back in April, I got told that Halo was going to be delayed. Back in April of last year. I completely forgot. July came and went, all this, and I completely forgot that I had a DM back in April telling me Halo's going to be delayed to 2021. I totally forgot about it. And then I found it and I showed John. I'm like, look at this. I'm like, that's just been sitting there and I forgot I had it. I am old and I forget stuff, legitimately.
I know.
To the point.
I know you look younger than me, but he's not, all right? I know I look the oldest, but he's actually older than me, all right? He just lives in the sunshine.
I am old, and I legitimately forget stuff to the point where I have now created like a OneNote system where anytime I get told something, it goes straight into the OneNote, or I will forget. I swear I will forget. So I have a sticky note now, and it's got all the things listed here for the rumour mill. So how shall I order this? Okay.
He's squinting a little bit there, John. He needs to put on his reading glasses.
First thing, so this one, I'll order it maybe in terms of significance. I don't know. So the first thing was, there's more of these Star Wars remasters coming. Those Nintendo 64 games, like Episode 1 Racer and all that sort of stuff. I've been told there's more of those coming. I assume they're going to be done by Aspyr. That wasn't said to me, but that's who's been doing them all this time, so I assume there's more coming. Before you ask, I can't say which ones. It should be relatively obvious.
Okay.
Now, I also put out a tweet recently which got a lot of attention, which said that there's going to be another batch of backwards compatible games, a mix of OG and 360 games coming later this year. No, I don't know when. Just got told later this year. Why am I mentioning this in the rumour mill? Because I'm allowed to now say that Sega is one of the publishers. Sega is one of the publishers involved in the next batch of games.
Awesome.
Can I mention any games? No, I actually don't know them. I know of one maybe game, but that's it. And I'm not allowed to say which one because it links back to someone. So, Sega is one of the publishers involved in the next batch of backwards compatible games, which I guess narrows down the options now for everyone to guess.
Yep.
I have seen guesses.
There's a lot of
I have seen guesses, like replies to my tweet that were people guessing. The game that's a maybe is in those guesses. Now go hunt. Now, The other one. All right. So we've mentioned this on an episode in the past. Our friends Jez and Rand, even though Jez doesn't know my name, Jez and Rand have mentioned it on their podcast in the past.
Wait. Is Jez's real name Jeremy?
Yeah, I'm gonna guess it's Jeremy.
Can we refer to him now
as Jeremy?
Yeah.
I'll call him Jeremy.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
I mean, I called when I had Jeff Grubb on, I was calling him Jeffrey. I didn't call him Jeff. I was calling him Jeffrey.
Yeah, because in your old man stink, you're just gonna start calling people their full name. I bet at some point you're just gonna say John is Jonathan.
I reckon
am
that's
actually
a very
Jonathan.
Australian thing.
To be fair,
he would be Jonathan. Same way I'm Nicholas. I'm not Nick. I'm Nicholas.
Yep.
But no one calls me Nicholas.
Anyway, sorry. I interrupted. I was just curious.
So yeah, Jeremy and Randall have mentioned this on their past episodes about that they've speculated that Ubisoft games might be coming to Game Pass. We've mentioned it. Like I said, how I had received a DM back in October that there's something going on with Ubisoft games at Game Pass. Okay. I can confirm Ubisoft games are coming to Game Pass. Yep. I asked, I said, can I say confirm? And I was told, yes, you can say confirm. So I can confirm Ubisoft games are coming to Game Pass. It'll probably be end of the year, I'd say.
And like around November, not day, right?
No. It'll be like an EA Vault style thing. It'll be like an EA Vault style
back catalog.
Thing. Having said that, speculation time. Do you think this would then lead so EA Play is just EA Play, and that's all they've got in Game Pass. This Ubisoft thing is going to be the same thing, the Vault. So by that time, that reminds me, I don't have to buy Immortals anymore. I can just wait for the Ubisoft games in Game Pass and get Immortals in Game Pass.
Maybe.
Do you think the Ubisoft thing could lead to the first step in adding tiers? I mean, they've already got tiers of Game Pass, but adding a channel, do we think that Ubisoft might turn around and go, okay, we're just going to be part of Game Pass. You keep paying your $15, but pay an extra $5 and you get Ubisoft Plus, which is all our games day and date.
Well, now it's interesting because when we did a prediction, I think before the Game Awards, that was a thing that might come. Because I mean, this rumor has been out here for a while. People have been we're hearing things. We've heard the same. You've now heard that you can confirm it, which is a much stronger determination. You're taking that out of rumor territory and saying, hey, this is happening. And we theorized before that is that a possible business play for Ubisoft to say, it's £5 extra or $5 extra a month on top of your $15 for Game Pass Ultimate that goes straight into their coffers, because they're obviously going to be taking an amount out of that monthly fee from Microsoft to negotiate that deal. I think yes. I mean, if you look at Luna, they've done a similar thing. You can subscribe to the Ubisoft channel and play their games and get their stuff day one. And I think if that happened, I think for the people that are big Ubisoft fans, they're going to do that. It's a no-brainer. If you buy
it's free money for them.
Games, it's
effectively.
And the point of this is, and people think, it's not value. The average gamer buys something like 3 or 4 games a year, right? If you buy, even before Game Pass Ultimate became a thing, if you bought just two Microsoft first-party published standard box retail games, that would be $120. That's your Game Pass. It's done, all right? But you don't just get 2; you get every single thing. And this is the point: is they're pulling. This is where the money is. They're pulling the people that buy 1 or 2, not us hardcore gamers. That's not who this is for. This is to make you forget it's in your direct debits, so it's going out with your Netflix and your PayPal and your Spotify. It's just another sub-service that you forget about because it's low cost and it just gives you all this stuff and you can just play it. That's where the money is. So yeah, I think Ubisoft coming to as an add-on, more than possible.
And I mean, we've seen the spike EA Play got.
Yeah.
So I imagine, so by the time the Ubisoft games get in there, Game Pass subscribers could be at 25, 30 mil, who knows? So then Ubisoft has access to all of that, even if they get 5 mil of those, paying the extra $5 for Ubisoft Plus, were they to do that, like, it'd be huge. Like, just as they are the Vault style thing, they're going to get access to all of them. If they were to then go, you know what, let's add a channel like we did on Amazon. Oh, man. Like, at that point, unless you're a person that only plays Call of Duty every year, and I do know one person like that, like I said to him, I'm like, why aren't you on Game Pass? I think we all know
one person like that.
Yeah. I've always said to him, I'm like, why aren't you on Game Pass? He's like, because I only play Call of Duty. That's it. That's all I play. He plays nothing. So unless you are the person that only plays Call of Duty, well, I don't understand why you wouldn't be subbed to Game Pass.
Yeah, it literally, and you're going to see this in Microsoft messaging. Arguably, you already are. This is the vehicle on which they will want to succeed this generation, all right? Because it is consumer friendly to a degree. Yeah, they're charging you for it, but it's a reasonable price for a hell of a lot of gaming. And the way that gaming works is you have your evangelists, you have your hardcore that say, dude, you're getting a new console, you've got to get this if you're getting an Xbox. It's a no-brainer, man. Stuff for your kids, blah, 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 blah. Go. Yeah. That's what they're banking on, and I think they're primed to succeed. It's good stuff. Now, this is where it gets nuts, right? Is because you could end the rumour mill now, and that would be, I think, a fairly satisfactory rumour mill. I'd be pretty happy with all of the rumours you've just stated. Yeah. But you're not done yet.
No, there's one more, and I've got to be careful because I just asked now. Because remember, as we record this, obviously, you know, I'm in DMs on Discord and all sorts of stuff, and I've asked how I can word this. All right, so I am going to word this the way I have been told I can word this. I'm looking at the DM right now. This is how I can word this. So this is the last thing for the rumour mill, and please don't prod me any further.
Yeah, good luck.
Microsoft are in talks with Paradox at the moment. That's it. That's all I'm allowed to say.
Paradox Interactive,
Microsoft
right?
are in talks with Paradox Interactive, yeah. Yep.
That'd do wonders for their PC slate.
I can't go into any more detail. I can't say what that is.
So hold on. Paradox is Total War, right?
Yep.
And Warhammer, right?
Warhammer?
Total War, Warhammer.
Sega.
I'm sorry. I'm mixing it together because I know they did Total War Warhammer.
Yeah. Isn't Paradox Crusader Kings?
Yep.
Let me look up their whole slate here. Paradox.
I know. I'm aware that Jeremy likes Paradox.
They are Crusader Kings, Stellaris, Imperator Rome, Cities Skylines. They published. I don't think they
are. They also Elite Dangerous? No, that's
that's
right?
Frontier.
But remember, all I said was Microsoft are in talks with them. I can't go into any more detail. Maybe it's a Game Pass deal.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They already got a bunch of their games on Game Pass.
Maybe it's a Game Pass deal. Maybe
Prison Architect too.
Something else. I don't know. But like I said, I am saying what I have been allowed to say, which is Microsoft are in talks with Paradox. You guys can feel free to interpret that however you like and go off on any tangents. But yeah. So
well, that was
that's all I'm allowed to say.
I would argue we got through a lot of news in what I would say is
fairly quick
time. Yeah, I feel.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Quick. I thought we'd be at least 90 minutes in by now, but 109.
Fairly quick.
So I guess from that we can stem into our favourite of times, which is community questions. Now,
can I say one thing though?
Yes,
while we're still technically within the realms of the rumour mill, I was sort of mentioning this before, and I'll say it again. So, I just want to remind people because sometimes I cop a lot of crap like about Elden Ring and all that sort of stuff.
By the way, Nick, when's Elden Ring?
I don't know.
He doesn't care anymore.
So, because I've seen my name get mentioned in the wrong kind of stuff and people refer to me as the wrong thing. I'm not an insider and I don't consider myself one at all. Where someone like a club release, and you know that you know that dude on Twitter, that Hoxod that's got the Garfield avatar?
Yeah, he's always leaking Microsoft stuff from their servers.
He is what I would consider an insider. Somehow he has back-end access and he discovers crap, right? So, and Clobberl discovers his own stuff. I don't discover anything. I'm a regular pleb. I just happen to be friends with people who know people who know people. That's it. I've had people come to me and just say, hey, you seem like a cool guy. Want to know about this stuff? And I'm like, yeah, I sure as hell do. Because I'm super shallow and vapid and just...
Tell it how it is, Nick.
I'm a very shallow, vapid person with not much of a life, so I don't mind some of the attention. Yeah. And these people don't like attention. So they tell me stuff so I can cop the attention because negative attention comes with it, as I found out with Elden Ring. Yeah. And that's how the game is played. But I've been receiving advice from some people. I'll just say some people. And these people have said to me, why don't you go bolder with your predictions and your leaks and your this and your that and your that? I'm like, because I'm not in a position to. So when I tweeted about Gearbox being acquired, I didn't mention Microsoft. And someone said to me, they're like, why don't you be bold and say Microsoft's acquiring Gearbox? And I said, because I don't know that they are. I got told that, yes, the deal might be close, but it's not guaranteed at all. So if my person
and as
says
we
to
found
me,
out, it was the right call.
It was Embracer. So if I had been bold and said, "Oh, Microsoft's acquiring Gearbox," all of a sudden it's another Elden Ring.
Yeah.
It's an interesting. So I got told.
Go on.
I was just going to say I got told very specifically, because I'm a bit dumb sometimes and I'll say the wrong things and I forget stuff. I tell my sources, I say to them, tell me word for word what you want me to say. So what you see me post is what I have been told. Even I posted something recently on our forums, which I was told I was allowed to, and they said forum specifically. I didn't put it on Twitter. I haven't mentioned it on this podcast. It was on the forum and on the forum only, because that is what they said.
Yeah.
They said, post it randomly in your forum. Don't make a thread. Just sneak it in somewhere. Yeah. And these are the words you can say. And I'm wondering, I probably shouldn't mention it now because then it'll point people there. So people can discover it for themselves. I'm not in a position to dictate terms on this kind of stuff. I get told what to say and I very specifically stick to that wording and that's it. Which is why sometimes when people poke at me and go, oh, does it mean this? What's this? What's that? I'm not going to reply to it because I can only say what I can say.
And it's worth mentioning, we do put a certain amount of control in that I think every time that you've got, especially when it's someone new, we normally feel the water out a little bit and keep something quiet and see if it happens, and then we'll know that it's a legitimate person to be listening to. So, I know everyone racks on you about Elden Ring, me included. It's great fun, but hey,
it is. Let's admit, very funny.
Yeah. I guess
literally one thing.
Yeah,
it's like one thing.
That all on
yeah,
reset.
But we host a podcast with you, Nick. We're allowed to berate you over this.
Yeah, it's part of the deal.
It's the banter.
Anyway, I think that's a fair comment to say and share, Nick. So I think that sets everyone up on a fairly even page as well. So shall we do this? And before we do this, before we do community questions, I think I'm gonna go out there and say it. We had so many community questions. If you actually listen to our podcast on the regular, you'll find that the first hour and maybe hour and 30 is on the topics we want to cover and go over. And then the second hour or more is community questions, 90% of which are about acquisitions, which we don't know. So we're going to try, not this episode, we will go through as many as we can, but going forward, we're going to try and come up with a way to perhaps either whittle down or pick our favourites, because otherwise we're here for 3 hours and no one's really going to want to listen to all
I think the one rule we can establish going forward right now, among other things we'll be deciding in the weeks to come, is please refrain from asking 5 questions in one post.
In one.
One question per individual, please.
I'm just going to stop using commas instead.
Yeah.
Even the Patreon, though. Even the Patreon's got more questions than it's ever had.
Well, to be fair, Patreon's kind of exploded in the last week.
We would like to ask that people limit themselves to one question.
The burning question.
And that doesn't mean 5 parts of one question or 5 questions in one post. That is one question.
Yeah.
Please.
Look, we don't want to do the super chat thing.
Yeah,
like
I like the super chat thing.
The live podcast where you have to pay to get a question asked.
Screw that.
Like, I don't particularly want to, but it's kind of weirdly heading down that path now with how many we're getting. Like, there may be other ways.
But we're going to have, at some point, if this keeps going, we're going to have a 6-hour podcast, which I'm sure some people will love, but I can't sit in this chair for 6 hours.
Like, maybe if we tried switching to weekly, then it could sort of reduce the number of questions.
Weekly.
I don't know if
a weekly.
I don't know.
I didn't.
Podcast. I don't know. I didn't really want to do it where you like have to pay to get a question answered. But then again,
if we get a sponsor, we'll do 6-hour question sessions.
To be honest though, there's some overlap. So I noticed a couple of people that did super chats for Jeremy and Randall, and a couple of them were people that have asked community questions to us. So it sounds like they don't have a problem doing that though. I don't know.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. There's 2 things we'll do. One, I'm going to post
Jeremy and Randall.
A poll up either in the forums or in the YouTube community tab, asking specifically the question from our audience: would you like us to make this podcast a weekly affair? And the second one is, the second thing we can promise is that for going forward, 100% will remain the same. All of our Patreons obviously will always get first dibs when it comes to community questions.
Yeah.
And it might be the case.
You may have to skip some.
It may be the case that we'll just point people to our forums and move away from posting them on Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll figure something out, but we'll talk to you as we go and make these decisions, because everything we do with our community. So don't fret. We will talk about it and discuss it. So yeah,
okay.
On to the community questions. Go.
Yes. Okay. DO game. Hi there. My question is, with the news that Microsoft was contemplating Gearbox before ultimately letting Embracer get them, it's an interesting phrasing, letting them get them. I'll go with it. I agree. Do you think Microsoft's future acquisition strategy will be further cementing their foothold in their 3 best represented genres, RPG, FPS, and immersive sim, filling in genre gaps, family titles, Sad Dad, JRPG, or a mix of the 2? Also, any chance Arx Fatalis will be backwards compatible? Thanks. I've heard of Arx Fatalis. What's Arx Fatalis?
I think it's one of those video game things that the kids are really fond of these days.
I've heard of it. I don't know what it is. Maybe I should Google it.
To the first part, though, yes, they will definitely seek with their acquisitions to plug gaps in their developer lineup. Obviously, mentioned in the Rumourmill, Paradox, primarily a PC game developer. So it makes sense.
Arcane. It was made by Arcane Arx Fatalis and released on the OG Xbox in 2003. Maybe it'll be part of the new batch. Because, I mean, if they own the studio that developed it, or they don't actually, but... And who was it published by? Oh, wow. It was published by Arcane, Joe Wood, Dreamcatcher Interactive, Capcom, Nival, and 1C Company. Maybe. Interesting. Now that I'm seeing all the details on it, again, remember, I don't know the games that are coming to the next batch of backwards compatible games. I don't know them. I know of one maybe, and it's not Arx Fatalis. But seeing Arx Fatalis, hey, maybe it's one of them. Well, there you go. Interesting. As to the acquisition thing, well, yeah. You guys were just talking about that. I think they're going to go for whatever and wherever.
Yeah.
There's
He's made
looking
comments,
at
right? He wants more Japanese games. Well, he's getting them via the Game Pass partnerships that he's making. He wants more E for everyone titles because, kids play video games.
Oh, we didn't talk about that tweet, did we?
What, the E for
Because
everyone?
you just mentioned... No. So, because you mentioned JRPGs and you said that... I put out a tweet that said...
Oh, yes. A certain...
Yakuza isn't the only Sega franchise Microsoft are looking to get into Game Pass. Man, did that get some attention, and it's so many guesses. I swear I'm not allowed to say what it is or they are.
Yeah.
Everyone's throwing guesses, and I've seen right guesses in there, but I'm not allowed to say what the franchise or franchises are, but Microsoft are working on trying to... Again, nothing confirmed. Like, the tweet says, trying to. They haven't got anything. It's just that there's another Sega franchise that they are trying to get into Game Pass Yakuza style. Because you know how with Yakuza, they just went and got them all in the end. It started with a couple of them, and then slowly they drip-fed the rest. There's another one, but I can't say. Anyway, thanks for the question, DO Game. I hope we answered it. Daniel, thoughts on a 3-tier Game Pass plan for when gold is gone in the future? Game Pass Originals, $10, includes first party, includes xCloud, includes PC Game Pass for first party games only, includes Game Pass perks. Game Pass Plus, $15, includes first party and third party, includes xCloud, PC first and third, Game Pass perks. $20, first and third, xCloud, includes all DLC for first party and Game Pass perks. I would happily pay $20 for included DLC of all first party titles once their studios are up and firing. We could probably see a monthly DLC for a game per month in the future. Something like Hivebusters type DLC per month on at least one Xbox Game Studios title. Well, I mean, technically they've got tiers now. They've got 2 of them. And we're now just speculating on, hey, maybe they'll do a channel type thing for Ubisoft later. And maybe they'll do another. Who knows? You know what? Oh, how did we even not mention this? Let's say Ubisoft does the channel. $5, and you get Ubisoft Day 1. And Ubisoft then reports in their next financial thing that they ended up signing up 10 million of the $5 channel people on Game Pass Ultimate. And then EA turns around and goes, oh, that's a lot of free money. Guess what? There's an EA Plus channel now for $5 on Game Pass Ultimate. And all of a sudden, all of EA stuff is Day 1.
Yeah.
Oh.
It could happen.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
It would be interesting.
And all of a sudden, the people that only play FIFA and Madden every year are like,
quick.
Okay.
Say mean things about Figments. He's not here anymore. No. He's just had to take a short break. What have we got next?
Wow. Did he disappear? I didn't even notice because I'm in a different screen.
It's all right. He did let me know why.
Okay. Torn Raptor. Hi, guys. Well, hot damn, the return of Stubbs the Zombie. There are many classic games on the OG Xbox that we still remember today, and many are playable. Games like Halo 1, Halo 2, KOTOR 1 and 2, Morrowind, and many more. What OG games that aren't available today would you like to see return via a remaster or becoming backwards compatible? I swear we've talked about this before.
We probably have, man.
I swear we have. And on our forum, I've made what I believe to be a pretty cool list of... I've broken down games I want that should have no licensing issues.
Yeah.
Games I want that may have licensing issues that need to be sorted out. Games I want that are pipe dreams and have absolutely no chance.
Yeah.
So in terms of the games that should have no licensing issues, I want Sega Soccer Slam. I want Gun Valkyrie. I want, just for the sake of it, Jet Set Radio Future.
Yep.
Because I've got Jet Set Radio, which is backwards compatible, and I've got it on Dreamcast as well. So just for that completeness of having them all. Jet Set Radio Future, because that should theoretically have no licensing issues. What else? Oh, there was others. Shit.
Atogi, Mechasol.
Atogi, yes. Atogi, Mechasol. Doom 3, Resurrection of Evil.
I'd love Chrome Hounds, but no one can fit the giant pad or make it anymore. But that would be cool. There's so many, man. I'd have to sit down with a list.
Yeah, I know. I want Dead or
Return
Alive
to Castle
Ultimate,
Wolfenstein.
Dead or Alive 3. I want Dead or Alive 3, Dead or Alive Ultimate, Dead or Alive 4, but they may have music licensing issues,
Possibly.
I think. Not that Microsoft hasn't worked those out before, like with Alan Wake.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I still want them to do Virtua Tennis. I know Virtua Tennis is never going to happen, but I just think from a business perspective, it would be so smart to have two of the best tennis games of all time exclusive to Xbox at 4K 60 or 4K 120.
Be nice,
I just think it would be such a smart business decision.
Good question.
Okay. Yeah. The Scarecrow 121. Easy question for the easy question.
I like easy questions.
Guest for the future. Who and when?
Oh, I can't say yet. Because
Didn't we talk about getting Sam on soon though?
Sam the White Wolf. Yeah.
Yes.
I think he's expressed some interest. I know we'd love to get. Yeah, we'd love to get Jeffrey on again.
Yeah. Jeff said he'll be on again. Jeff said he'll be on again.
I have some really cool guests that I am lining up. I'm sorry, I want to tell you, but I'm not going to.
And we are going to keep plugging away at trying to get Phil on.
Yeah, I'm you know, I have pinged Phil actually recently because someone in the forums came up with a really cool idea that might not be too difficult for Phil to do and not get him in too much. He might not have to jump through too many PR hoops, and two, he might just have some spare time to do it. But we'll see. I can't. He hasn't replied yet, so I can't make any promises. But yeah, we're always trying to get guests on. What I would say to you, dear listener, dear reader, dear watcher, is if you think there is someone out there that we should be speaking to, and you think that their input, their experience, you know, their persona would gel and would make sense for this podcast, tell us, especially if you're in the Patreon, because we really pay attention to you guys. Tell us and we will do everything we can to make it happen. My personal one that I still really want, and I'm really cross with Miles Dompier at Windows Central, is Mike Chapman and Joe Neat. I want them on this podcast to bore Nick to death about Sea of Thieves, because I don't care what Miles says. I'm a bigger Sea of Thieves fan than him. So, yeah, there you go.
I'll skip that episode.
I'd love to get someone from Bethesda on.
Yeah.
Just to talk.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's loads. And look, the simple fact of it is, as we grow, and regardless of the naysayers out there, we'll be able to achieve more. And that's all thanks to everyone that is listening. So, we owe you.
Okay, blast the bass.
Blast the bass.
Where does the admin team stand on the term Schluter?
I'm okay with it.
It's not as good as Metroidvania, but
yeah, I'm okay with it.
It just sounds stupid.
Schluter.
Have you noticed that the one guy that plays the main Schluter is against the phrase Schluter?
It's a stupid phrase.
You're
it's
a Schluter
an
fan.
MMORPG.
It actually does sound like more of an insult than a game genre.
Yeah.
Schluter.
This isn't Borderlands.
You dirty Schluter.
It's an art. Like, I don't understand. We have the terms to describe it already. FPS RPG. Or
that's just
mushy.
terms.
MMORPG. Every RPG has loot. What are you talking about? Like,
it doesn't. That's an FPS RPG.
No, FPS RPG is the actual term for that genre.
That's just what a Schluter fan would say.
Schluter sounds like you had a bit too many at the pub.
Can I just say, Blast the Bass asks the really important questions around here, and I am glad he's with us on this.
It just sounds like you've had too much to drink. You've had a little bit more Hennessy than you really should. You really should be.
Yeah, no, it's like a drunk person slurring their words. I'm gonna buy a Schluter. I'm not as think as you drunk I am, officer. Okay. Next one. The last one. By Keras. Keras asks. Now, Keras asked us a very long one.
I loved the tale last
couple of episodes back. With quite a background story involved with it before we finally got to the question. This one's kind of similar, but not quite to the same extent. Okay, hi. Make a cuppa. This will be a long one. I saw recently that Rare has a limited edition Sea of Thieves Monopoly coming.
That's just true.
Worst thing ever.
I think
yeah. As someone who likes board games and therefore hates Monopoly, I see this as a waste. Monopoly is a dreadful game.
Yes,
and dare I say it, an uninteresting tie-in. There are so many board games now which can even ape the experience of a D&D session, such as Gloomhaven. Mm-hmm. It would be wonderful to see games like Sea of Thieves get such a tie-in, where you play it more like an RPG. There is, for example, an XCOM game, which is a pretty good analog of the video game and its tension, unfairness, and style, though at a cost of the squad-based combat.
Fair.
Do you guys like and play board games? And
Sometimes.
If one of MGS, Microsoft Game Studios games, could be made into a board game, which would it be? And in what style? I would like a Sea of Thieves game like Gloomhaven, with quests and a story to follow along with, perhaps with even some social deception where a teammate could turn on you. Thanks, Karis.
That's a good question.
I don't like board games, but I have played them in the past. Monopoly being one of those board games.
I hate Monopoly so
No
much.
wonder you hate board games. I love board games.
Board games are awesome.
I just find them boring in the same way I wouldn't watch a play when I can watch a movie.
Oh, man, dude.
What?
The theatre can be an amazing experience if you go and see the right thing.
Well, I mean, okay, so
I saw The Hobbit.
do we include traditional gaming on top of board games? So stuff like D&D or Shadowrun or Cyberpunk.
I would say anything where you have a dungeon master and you sit around a table and you're playing on a board could be a board game. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say then.
Metacritic Snakes and Ladders.
Perfect Dark would make a great scenario-based board game.
That's a good call.
Where you're trying to find I don't know, intelligence or something, and you have to work together as players against a dungeon master who constructs all the traps and stuff.
Yep, I think that's pretty cool.
Acquisition Hungry Hippo. So you've got the 4 hippos. One's Microsoft, one's Apple, one's Google, one's Tencent, and you all the balls are in there with the labels of all the studios.
No. Okay, no.
Who can eat
You're already off base. You're already
That's
off
what
base.
you call
You're already
it.
off base. Nick. You're already off base because it wouldn't be Google as one of the hippos. It'd be Embracer Group.
Not Google. So Tencent, Embracer, Microsoft, and Apple. And that's each of the hippos. And then all the studios and the publishers are the little white balls. And it's called consolidation. And you see who can eat the most of them.
Someone make it, please. Someone out there.
That would be Retro's favorite game.
I like playing board games. Some of my favorites that I've played recently, Pandemic, Risk is an absolute classic. I hadn't ever played it before until last year, which is shocking because considering the video
John,
game version.
You need to answer the question. What Microsoft IP would you like?
Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm just expanding because it was also asked what games do I like to play. I have really fond memories of Atmosphere, the really old school board game, and I was alive when it was a VHS tape and not a DVD. But in terms of what I'd like to see Microsoft IP become a board game, crikey. I honestly...
Would Halo work in anything?
You could do Halo Wars as a board game, yeah, I suppose.
Halo Wars
Gears
is
Tactics.
a hex board games.
Fundamentally, board games are video games, just removed out of player immediacy.
It's literally the opposite way. Video games are board games, just
with
on a screen.
12-hour cutscenes in them.
And the mechanics and rules aren't something that are in a book. It's just built into the game.
Yeah. But I'd have to give that some thought. I don't know if I can answer that right way in an honest way. But yeah, I agree. Monopoly was a terrible choice for a Sea of Thieves board. Because look, let's be honest. If you're going to turn Monopoly into anything, the reason so many companies do it is because all you have to do is rename all the streets to the theme of the game.
It's more of a marketing thing. It's not, this would make a great board game. Like there's Fortnite Monopoly and there's Mario Monopoly and there's Sonic Monopoly.
It's stupid.
It's marketing at this point.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah.
That's it's sort of like all these characters that appear in Fortnite. It's not because they necessarily fit Fortnite. It's just marketing. Like Fortnite is this thing now where if you put your character in Fortnite, it's just effectively marketing for that brand or character. That's what it is with Monopoly now. Like that's all it is.
Monopoly could do one. Good question though.
Yeah.
Harris.
Yeah, it was. Okay, so we're going to go to Twitter. Now, you know, I'm not even going to say it. I'm just going to read a question. So, Aldrich, at Aldrich with a bunch of numbers. Now, this is actually a question from the last episode, and I felt bad I didn't ask it. And it's actually a pretty good question that doesn't get asked 1,000 times every time we do community questions. So I did reply to Aldrich back on the 25th of January saying, I'm sorry I missed your question. I'm going to ask it on the next episode. So Aldrich says, at the start of last gen, it felt that the first must-have game was Destiny based on the massive marketing campaign. Do you see any games coming out in the next year or two having similar massive marketing campaigns, massive marketing and becoming a must-have next-gen game? So my guess is he's referring to something new because Destiny was new. Because it's easy to just say Halo, Call of Duty, but that's older stuff. So I'm assuming he's talking about something newer. Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, my first inclination was to say the next big marketing campaign
Halo.
of that scale will definitely be Halo, and it will definitely do rather well. But yeah, if we go, I think that take on the question is the more interesting route to answer. And man, it depends really because I can pretty much guess, and I'm pretty sure Clobberil on Twitter is of the same mind. You can be sure that Halo Infinite is not the only big game coming out in 2021. Like from Microsoft specifically. And I think that was going to be my next point. I think if the stars align and Starfield is going to drop, you will see a massive campaign behind it. Because if they do what Bethesda usually do, which is announce late, release...
And then release.
Within 4 to 6 months of that announce. So announce June, release October, I don't know. I would say Starfield would be my guess.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I was about to say, I can't say why, but I am very confident Starfield will be this year.
Yeah.
I'm just not allowed to say why.
Yeah.
But I'm very confident. Not 100% because, I mean, Halo was supposed to launch
you also
the
have to
console.
think, like, even if we haven't, you also have to think, even if we haven't seen it that much, like, Bethesda isn't known for doing stuff. Like, the early teases we got of Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 are stuff that's, it's unusual for them to do early teases like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Bethesda usually announces a game the year it's coming out, and then 4 or 5 months later, it's out.
Yeah.
Easy. Like,
Starfield's a good one. I reckon Microsoft wants Starfield to be a pillar.
If there's a big blowout for Starfield at E3 this year, it's coming out this year.
Yeah.
That's Bethesda's MO. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident Starfield's this year.
Barring any like development hurdle.
Yeah.
I doubt that's like if COVID. I would understand if COVID pushed it to early 2022, but I mean that's as far as I could see it go out.
Yeah. Saying that, I still think that there is a lot of potential for a lot of games that were still planned for this year, that have already slipped to 2022 and they're just not said yet.
Possibly.
I think you're already going to see that. I've even seen, from a publisher slate, smaller games that were meant to come out in January moved to March and stuff like that. And that's the small titles, right? You think about
even a remaster.
Yeah.
Even a remaster got moved.
So, but Starfield 100% is going to be... I think I don't know what's going to come out this year.
We can't take release dates for granted in the age of COVID. Yeah.
But from a Sony point of view, I know they said God of War 2 would be this year. Doubt it. I mean, I could be wrong, but I doubt it. I know they said that Horizon Forbidden West could be this year.
Yeah, God of War is an interesting one.
Unless
God of
it's
War is
just
interesting.
really completely building off what they've already built and they're just making incremental improvements.
You know what? I'll save it for the next episode. I'll ask about God of War because I've been told something about God of War and I don't want to say anything out of turn.
Fair enough.
This comes back to me triple checking everything and not saying something I'm not supposed to know.
Okay.
Not supposed to say. But
Yep.
I have some stuff on God of War, but anyway. Okay, so next Twitter question. At Callum3126. Now, I don't think Callum is fully aware of what's going on with GoldenEye. In light of the leaked pulled game, does Microsoft have IP rights to GoldenEye game? If so, idea, remake with Halo CE remaster style button, press to see old looking version and new. GoldenEye already has that.
Yeah, it
already
was designed
has
to have
switch. Yeah, switch between 64 and new graphics. Microsoft now, okay, so I'm glad he's asked this question. For years now, for like ever, since people found out that 4J was doing that GoldenEye remake, people have been like, oh, it's Activision and Nintendo and Microsoft and no one can work. It's none of them. Everyone keeps... Activision gave up the Bond rights, so they've got nothing to do with the GoldenEye remake. I don't know why Nintendo would have a say. It's a rare game, just same way Jet Force Gemini is on Rare Replay and Nintendo has nothing to do with it. I don't know why people keep saying Activision and Nintendo. This is purely about Danjak, which is if you Google them, they are the company that manages Bond in media, whether it's games, whether it's whatever. Like, that is the company that is not letting GoldenEye go. So that is why I'm hoping this leak makes them grow a brain.
Yeah.
And say, hey, there's free money here to be made. They've already made the game. There's free money. Maybe we should just release it since a lot of people seem to want it. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's Microsoft. They've got IP rights in so much as the studio they own made it.
Yeah.
That's the rights they have to it. But if Danjak says to them, no, you're not releasing it, we're not allowing it, then they can't.
Yeah.
So that's why I was glad the leak happened.
I think Phil is on record of saying back in, it must have been 2015, that GoldenEye's rights are so challenging and that Microsoft have ganded at them so many times and there's so many different parties to work with that from a Microsoft perspective, he's actually, I think he used the phrase given up, or we've kicked it. It's not happening. Hopefully maybe this leak will change the conversation.
They've given up, but not for the reasons people are thinking, because there's so many parties involved. It's not. It's one party. It's Danjak. I just noticed that Aldrich re-asked his question here. Oh, well, there you go. Okay. At Mustafa 200320. What's with all these people with all these numbers at the end of their names? Hey, good day. What game genre do Xbox need next gen? Number 2. What next gen Xbox Game Studios games stand out or is most unique to you guys and why? I mean, the first question we talked about 100 times.
Kids games.
They need kids games. They need Sony games. They need sport games, I think.
Yeah.
We actually, I think we literally talked about this in the last episode.
Clearly, we read everyone's minds. In terms of unusual questions.
What next gen Xbox Game Studio games stand out or is most unique to you guys and why?
Everwild. Yeah.
Everwild.
Because I don't think it's going to be. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be a traditional.
It will be very unique.
Yeah.
And it looks stunning. Beautiful. Stunning. I think Hellblade will be big. But in terms of the standout or unique, Everwild.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Kyra, Figments?
Standout?
Yeah, or unique.
I'm trying to think. Nothing is really popping up. I mean, it's
we'll say Everwild on your behalf.
Yeah.
No, you're not going to say Everwild on my behalf. You can't speak on my behalf. All right.
Yes, I can. I'm the boss of you.
Fine, Everwild, whatever.
There you go.
Okay. At Gaggins23. What do you think is a realistic amount of Game Pass subs Xbox can reach by the end of 2022? Do you think it will stagnate? And what does Microsoft need to do to maintain the momentum? We've kind of covered this too. But knowing that EA is there, because remember, EA only just got there in November. It hasn't been there long. It's only been there 3 months. Knowing that Ubisoft's games are coming, knowing that they're going to acquire more publishers and studios to bolster Game Pass, knowing that their first party will start cranking up prior to the end of 22. Like, I think 2022 will be that tipping point where their first party starts to just churn them out, like start to get their games going.
Here's a question.
So I think by the end of 2020, so if they're at 18 right now, 20, I reckon by the end of 2022, they can have, I'm going to say 35. Wait a minute.
How is it 18? Is that
without? They said 18. They said 18. They said
I think
18.
They counted some studios with sister studios as additional. Or they didn't count them as additional studios.
Hold on. I'm talking about 18 is in 18 million Game Pass subs. I'm not talking about the number
sorry.
Sorry. Okay. He said Xbox Game Pass subs. We didn't talk about studios.
Sorry.
They're at 18 million. They're at 18 million Game Pass subs.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that by the end of 2022, I reckon they could be at 35.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
So that's like 2 years away, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So my number's not exactly outrageous.
No, I'm sure it's probably part of their internal goals anyways, to increase by X amount by that time.
Okay, dumb question coming up by Don Cabeza.
Yeah, you could just skip over that one. You know, it's only Don. What does he do apart from produce a load of video reviews all the time?
Yeah. Are you going to follow Ari's lead? He's talking about Rusatura and ban Nick for 6 months. Second, how great is the top 30 video by Soulblazer? What a great job that handsome bastard did.
Yes. On the second part, yes. If you haven't seen it yet, Soulblazer's one of our video team put together. He's got probably the best voice on our video team, I think. Put together our as in the Xboxera team's
Mike's up there.
Top 30. Yeah, Cage is up there definitely. I keep calling him Cage. Sorry, it's just what it's going to be now. But he did a top 30 of the staff's favourite games over the last year, for 2020. Bear in mind, even though we are XboxEra, we play on lots of different devices, and there's a bunch of games in there from PlayStation, from Nintendo, etc. So yeah, but it's a really good video, and you should definitely go and check it out. Yeah.
Okay. The Unsung Hero. At the Unsung Hero 26. He's asked a question, but he's linked a question that he asked on the forum, which I think must have just missed out on last week's episode.
Possibly.
So, question for the next podcast. Last year, Kind of Funny had Ryan McCaffrey to determine what the 5 most iconic console-defining games of each generation of Xbox are. What games do you think defined each Xbox generation? Not necessarily your favourites, but rather the games that helped give each console its identity. I think Kind of Funny's OG and 360 list is spot on, but the Xbox One list is missing Killer Instinct and Titanfall. And then he's listed Kind of Funny's and whatever. Okay, so OG Xbox, Halo.
Is there any objection to that,
No.
John?
No. It's obviously Halo. Like, the brand exists because of Halo.
Yeah,
there is no other answer for OG Xbox.
360 is probably going to be Gears
of War.
Yeah.
Gears of War. Yeah. If we're
Xbox
picking
One.
If we're picking one.
Yeah.
He says here what games, plural.
Well, I think in respect of time, one each gen is probably good enough.
Yeah. So Halo, Gears of War.
Gears, and then for the Xbox One, I'm going to say...
That's a hard one.
That's a really hard... What defined the Xbox One?
Because what did define it?
Loco Cycle defined Xbox.
Like to me, there's so many angles you could attack this at. Like, what was Xbox One outside of a disaster for a lot of it? Like, there's so many angles you could take. So you could say Master Chief Collection, because it was this game that started as a disaster and has become something amazing.
That's a really good analogy.
Like the console it released on. You could say Titanfall did something great that not enough people noticed, but was something amazing.
The thing is, if I was going to say something defines the Xbox generation,
I
Xbox
think
One,
what
I'll fight you.
I don't think any individual game defines the entirety of the Xbox One generation. I think the thing that defines the Xbox One generation was backwards compatibility.
See, I was going to go the other route and say it's not a game, it's Game Pass defined Xbox One. Game Pass.
Yeah, but I want to answer it with a game. I want to answer it with a game.
I don't think I can.
That's impossible. There's so many games.
That's why I said it depends on the angle you want to take.
Okay.
Master Chief Collection mirrors the console itself. Started as a disaster, ended up amazing. Titanfall also relates to the console because the Xbox One did a lot of great things that not enough people took notice of because the console wasn't successful. Titanfall was the same. Titanfall, whether people know it or not, it even got Call of Duty to take notice.
I know what game defines the Xbox One and meets that analogy.
What? Don't say Sea of Thieves. Be quiet, please.
Well, Crackdown 3. Crackdown
3 is still awful, though.
Boasted the
Nonsense.
power of the cloud, boasted all of these experiments, and when it came out, it ultimately fell flat. In there, amongst that game, was something that was okay and fun, but it wasn't what it was meant to be. That is the definition of the Xbox One generation.
That's another angle.
I would say also Sea of Thieves is a really phenomenal success and is definitely 100% the best original new Microsoft IP that came out during the Xbox One generation.
Most successful.
No, that's not local cycle.
As opposed to best new.
It is best. It is best new. I'm
just going to start using
got
local
more players
cycle as
year on year,
Xbox's
every
knack.
And Recall, maybe you could say, teased and looked promising, but then wasn't given the budget, wasn't given the time, just like the Xbox division for most of this generation.
This is why I want Phil on the podcast, because I personally think our community asks some of the best questions. I'd love to put that question to him, because he would probably say, Halo for original Xbox, Gears of War, and then when he gets to Xbox One, what game?
It's hard,
he'd be like,
shit,
you got me.
Is it Sunset Overdrive? This fun game, this amazing game that just no one discovered because it was caught up amongst the hate of the Xbox One launch window. Just like the Xbox One itself. The Xbox One, I know people bag it. The Xbox One did a lot of cool stuff, man. Snap was amazing. The HDMI in was so awesome. Just no one found this stuff because no one bought an Xbox One. Everyone was on PlayStation. Just so many games that you could say it's hard to pick just one game that defined Xbox One. I think it's very hard.
Yeah, I think that is personally my favourite community question that's ever been asked, because it's definitely been, how do you define that generation? I want to see that as is that Unsung Hero? Who was it that did that? Yeah. I want to see that as a forum thread because I want to see what the community thinks. Because
he's got the question in there, so maybe I'll use my admin powers to break that question out from that thread and put it in a dedicated thread.
Yeah.
But even just Xbox One, because OG and 360 is easy. They're easy.
Yeah.
It's Halo and Gears.
Really
they are objectively the correct answer. There's no other answers you can give.
Yeah.
But Xbox One, man, I'll stick with Master Chief Collection only because it started as a disaster, which the Xbox One also did, and ended as something amazing as they worked away at it and refined it and changed it.
You could also say that it's also, unfortunately, as great as it is, just a retread of all the old ideas.
Yeah. Master Chief Collection seems to align the best.
Yeah. It's really good. It's a good
Is that
question.
just because it aligns the best, or is it because it's the game you picked and everyone else, G and John, our opinions don't matter here?
That too, but still, I didn't explain myself. I explained my reasons. It's not like they were outrageous.
Did you tell Don Cabasa to give this a 10 when he reviewed it? Is this where this comes from?
Did he give it 10?
He gave it 10. like, hang on. Like, we're hitting the 2 hour mark here, and the delirium setting in. For the record, Don and or Jesse and the team, particularly from the You Had Me at Halo podcast, which you should listen to because it's good. There was a lot. Like they built the review. What is it like if I bought Halo the Master Chief Collection now in 2021? What would you give it? What score would you give it? And man, there was some serious deliberation.
I know. I gave my reasons why it shouldn't be a 10, and I thought most were in agreement.
No. At the end of the day,
it's an amazing package. Like
it is.
The only way you give it a 10 is on the package.
Yes.
As opposed, because the individual games within the Master Chief Collection, none of them are 10 out of 10s.
Not in my opinion.
Including Halo, which I adore Halo CE. It's one of my favourite games of all time, but it's not a 10 out of 10.
It was a 10 back
Halo
then for me. But it's not now in today's market. I mean, look, I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent, but I'll tell you what, if you listening or watching haven't watched that review, please do so. And, drop a comment. Do you agree with the score? Because I think it's a fascinating topic, right? And this is why the conversation around this went on for so long. The final verdict was, it's not my review. It's not Nick's review. It's not anyone else's review but yours. What would you want to give it? And he went with 10. And it's the first 10 that XboxEra have given out. Wasteland 3 came close. And I get why he's given it a 10. I understand all of his reasons. Not that I personally would. But what do you think? Have a watch of the video and let us know in the YouTube comments for that video.
I can see an argument for it. I can see an argument for it based on its package and what it is and what it contains and
as value
all that
for money,
sort of stuff.
It's an 11.
Yes, I understand it. Like, I get the reason why it could be, especially in its current form, now that it's not a broken mess.
Yeah.
Especially now in its current form. But, yeah, anyway, so he didn't listen to me. We were in a DM about it, and I said, don't you dare do it. Which is probably what drove him over the edge to do it. Okay, the Brad Ward fight.
Love Brad.
Anime month, discuss.
What's that? Anime butt?
Anime month, discuss.
Oh,
where's that
anime butts? I was like, what?
No anime.
Sorry.
At Logmay92, Logan Meyer. Obligatory Microsoft acquisitions question.
Skip it.
Yeah, we've covered that. At Vega tweets. So, is Microsoft finally buying Sega? Many signs point that they will. And then he's linked some YouTube video. Look, I'd love for Microsoft to buy Sega.
Love for it.
I'd love it. And Sega we've said this before, Sega solves so many problems.
Yeah.
So many problems in one swoop. Now, has this recent news about Sega splitting off parts? I don't know. Maybe Microsoft, because we've said before that Microsoft definitely did look into Sega quite some time ago and walked away. Yeah. Maybe now this new split off triggers something, and then Phil turns around and goes, well, now they no longer have the garbage pachinko. They no longer have the arcade business. Maybe we look at them. Because again, like, to me, Sega's worth it for two reasons. The IP, because ain't nobody got IP like Sega, not even Nintendo. And Relic and Creative Assembly.
Yeah, man.
Like,
amazing developers.
Relic and Creative Assembly, man. Like, they're two unbelievable studios. Like, to me, Sega's worth it just for all of that.
Yep. 100%.
Forgetting all the other studios and forgetting the PC. They'd own Football Manager. Like, I don't even care about Football Manager, but I acknowledge how big it is. Like,
it's a savvy business move. 100%.
Yeah, like all the PC boost they get, the console boost they get, they have
kid
Sonic.
game IP they get.
They would have the challenger to Mario. They would then own Mario's Nemesis. With the backing, look what Microsoft did with Minecraft. Apply that to Sonic. Like, oh, come on, just fucking
actually invest resources in Sonic Team so they can make a good game again, please.
Just go and buy them, for God's sake. Okay. At Mortifer for Gamers, who is a Greek gentleman, is Xbox working with Japanese publishers for new exclusive games? in brackets, like Sony is doing with Square Enix, for example? Don't know.
I'd hope so.
Maybe.
And I don't
honestly
even
haven't
care
heard anything. I don't know.
about Japanese games, but yeah, for
Yeah,
their business,
I'm
yeah.
not sure. I'm not sure. I know there was rumors. There was a rumor on, I don't know if it was Twitter, 4chan, one of them, about Microsoft partnering with Konami and Sega or something to release new games. I don't know. I lose track of all. Remember, I'm old. I lose track of all this stuff. I'm not too sure. I'd hope so. For the sake of people that love their Japanese games, I hope so. At MDHX, I think we're getting through these relatively fast. I have been investigating this week around the rumor of Xbox acquiring Konami. I have seen so many indicators it could be true, starting from Bloober Team Reddit AMA saying they will be honoured to work on a Silent Hill and ending with Silent Hill composer teasing it. My question is it possible for Microsoft to be negotiating an acquisition with Konami? Well, of course it is. And is it possible that the coming Silent Hill is actually an Xbox title?
I would laugh
instead
my
of the PS5.
ass
Oh my
off.
god! I mean, I've never, for the record, I've never played Silent Hill, but I want this to happen just for the meltdowns, as has been thought for so long. Or is Silent Hill part of PlayStation games, and is it a done deal? I'd wager that if it's happening, it's probably going to be exclusive to PlayStation, because the rumor was that Sony were the ones funding it or looking to make it happen. But like, let's be honest. Like, for example, I'd love for Microsoft to buy From. I don't even like From games. I just want them to buy From for the meltdowns.
But we now know that Sony made a little partnership there, or a little investment.
Oh, they own a 1.9% stake. They've got like a 1% stake in Epic too. Big deal. Like Microsoft couldn't buy like a 100% stake. Anyway. Yeah. So, at V4_Chinchi. Do you think Banjo will be outsourced to a studio outside the Xbox Game Studios umbrella? Yeah, Moon's doing it. Remember?
Oh, yeah, they announced it in the podcast.
Yeah, Moon's doing it.
Wait. Thomas has been in enough trouble this week. Let's caveat that. That was a joke.
Sure has.
It was a joke. All right?
Sure has.
Moon aren't doing Banjo to our knowledge.
Look, everyone wants... I mean, I'm still amazed that there's no Banjo remake.
Yeah.
Remake, not remaster, because we have the remasters on 360.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Crash was successful. Spyro was successful. How is there not a Banjo 1
Easy money.
remake?
Easy money.
Come on. The game's there. It's not like you have to think of a story and gameplay mechanics. The game is there. Yeah. Like, just take it and remake it and make it good. Like, and it wouldn't cost much. Surely these remakes don't cost what a new IP bloody first-party game would cost. Like, just get your free money and do it. Jesus Christ. At V4Chinchi asks another one. Finally, will a Microsoft studio ever make a Star Wars game or big superhero game?
No idea.
Well, I mean, Machine are doing indie. So does that mean... I mean, okay. So we've talked about Microsoft looking at Lucasfilm IP, which would suggest Microsoft want a first-party studio to develop those for Lucasfilm IPs. So the answer to this question, based on that logic, would be yes. What's ZeniMax up to? What's ZeniMax Online up to?
That's a really good question.
In a while.
And they've just geared up like a new big studio and made a load of new hires and stuff. Almost like they've just arranged to build a new IP of some description.
What if we posit a world? What if we posit a world where if Bethesda were doing this Shifty Machine Games indie deal behind all our backs, what if they were also doing a Shifty behind our backs deal where ZeniMax were making, I don't know, what's a Star Wars IP? ZeniMax, because if Aspyr are rumored to be doing KOTOR or whatever, what if ZeniMax, they've been doing a Shifty deal behind the scenes where ZeniMax are like making or pitching for, I don't know, Mandalorian or something like that. Like, I don't know. We don't know anything they're doing. So think about it. No one knew about indie. No one. It wasn't rumored. It wasn't. I certainly hadn't heard anything. No, Jez never said anything. Clobberl never said anything. Jeff Grubb, Jason Schreier. No one knew about indie. No one.
Yeah.
So that proves that secrets are able to be kept. Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, like I said, what is ZeniMax Online working on? What are Arcane working on? What are... I don't know. The answer to the question is yes. Will a Microsoft, as in, not yes as in will they, yes as in it's very most certainly possible.
Yeah.
That a Microsoft studio could be working on a Star Wars game. I mean, who was it? I keep seeing people saying, get Coalition to do one. I don't know. They're the Gear studio, so I don't know. But, will a Microsoft studio ever make a Star Wars game? Maybe, yeah, for sure. Or big superhero game. I don't know about superhero.
Yeah, I don't
They're
know.
clearly not involved in any Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, speculation hat on. What if there's another little secret that no one knows about? Like I said, like ZeniMax doing a Mandalorian game if a Mandalorian game existed. Who knows? Okay. Next. At Fielder's Choice 9. Let me go back. Oops. What did I just do there? Okay. Can we talk about how bad the new Xbox app is? I, like many, were very excited when console streaming was added, but the loss of accessing achievements is a huge killer. Just achievements? Oh, yeah, he's followed up. Why remove this? It's a great way to stay engaged and see what your friends are playing, and the store is awful. And then he follows up. Actually, is there even access to the store? I guess this proves my point. Yeah, why the hell did they remove the store?
I think this is to do with stipulations from
Apple.
not just Apple and Google.
Yep.
About as much as Microsoft wants to have everything in one single app, you can't.
You got to break it off.
So
that's Apple being dicks.
Yeah, it's annoying. But yeah,
Apple are no stranger to being dicks.
Yeah, don't necessarily blame the Xbox app creators for this one. I think this is them following a
and
App Store
you all
policy.
know me. I'm more than happy to blame Microsoft for stuff.
It's very true. You are.
This one's on Apple, and I say that as not an Apple fanboy, but I am full in Apple's ecosystem.
Wait.
I have like 4 iPads, 2 phones, a MacBook Pro, an iMac, an iPod Touch. I've got that much Apple stuff. It's crazy.
I thought we were corporate bootlickers.
Yeah. I have a Surface. A singular Surface Book 3, which I am recording this podcast on. Okay. At mother_1, which is one bad mother. This isn't even a question. This is just a stupid thing. One bad mother 1. One bad mother 1. Nick 0. Oh, I'm sorry. You said questions. I'll get back to you on that. My guess is this is referring to Halo, most likely not ditching Xbox One. You know what? I've still got till March 31. So that's not over yet. I don't care what they say publicly. I'm sticking to my guns because I always stick to my guns.
You are
I
right.
die on my hills.
Okay.
When I pick a hill to die on, I die on it.
Yeah, you died on Elden Ring real fast.
Oh, I did. Oh, wow. Chinchi's got another one. What are your guys' thoughts on the rumors of Microsoft buying the gaming divisions of Sega? Yeah, okay, Sega and Konami. Sorry, buddy. At the Bacon Life 1, have you guys heard anything about achievement changes yet?
I remember reading or hearing that it was something that was under investigation being worked on.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen anything in a long while. I would expect...
I actually had heard ages ago that, like, if anything, achievements are going to get buried more. And they kind of did in the new Dash.
In the new Dash, yeah.
A little bit. The new Dash kind of buries them one small layer lower. And, yeah, I actually quite like how they are in the new guide, though. Have you seen it? Like, when you're playing the game and it's got the little image, the faded image at the bottom of the game you're playing, I really like it. It looks nice.
Yes, it does look nice.
I actually don't mind the changes to achievements
I think
in the new
people
guide,
want to see something come in line where it's not just a score that you get Like a lot of people really, really like the Platinum Trophy system, where you get a trophy. You know, you get an award effectively for completing the game.
A marker of completion.
Yeah, and I think that is preferable to 10 points or 100 points for completing the game. Great. Okay, it just gets lost in a sea of points. You know, I want to show off that I completed 20 games or 30. You know, so on. So that's what people want.
Yeah. But no, we haven't heard anything. Okay, our friend at JSing10J. I think this is a bunch of sarcasm.
Yes, it is.
Will the evil empire of Microsoft prevail? Who, from the beginning of Xbox, planned to destroy their competitors by buying everyone? Who will be the beacon of light in this industry to eradicate the darkness brought upon the honest, hardworking, and the most pro-consumer companies in gaming, namely Sony and Nintendo, which never wanted to dominate the industry because they care for gamers, and not their money will the light be able to eradicate the darkness. Sarcasm. That's a bunch of sarcasm, which I assume references a bunch of stupid posts from Reset.
Probably.
Where people call Microsoft evil and villains, which we discussed. At XL Anna. Final Fantasy 14 coming to Xbox? Hoping for some news if this is ever going to happen. Well, it wasn't at the event, but Phil said himself that they're going to make it happen, didn't he? I'm pretty sure Phil is on record publicly saying that they are working to or are getting Final Fantasy 14 on Xbox.
I couldn't care
less. I don't play Final Fantasy, but
I'm not sure what's happening there. I don't pay attention to
Neither do I.
So, sorry.
But like I said, Phil is on record publicly saying it's going to happen. So, I don't know.
The question is when.
Yeah. Okay, to the forum. We've actually done not bad, all things being equal. Now to the forum. Jesus, there's so much on the forum.
We need to start cherry picking here now.
Quantonox. Hey guys, I have some questions regarding xCloud. Can xCloud successfully enter the gaming market in countries where Xbox has been previously non-existent? What would these countries' regions be? Japan.
India.
Will Game Pass Japan and the Switch.
Yeah.
Launch on the Switch in Japan. You're done. You don't even have to bother releasing a console there. Will Game Pass get a separate and cheaper xCloud only subscription tier? Well, if xCloud is part of Game Pass Basic, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your predictions for xCloud for the next 2 or 3 years? It should launch in more countries. It will hopefully improve in quality.
More countries, better quality, more titles.
Yeah.
They will put the Series X APUs in all the blades over the next 2 or 3 years for sure.
Yep.
Which would mean games are better quality, faster loading, because they're
probably even they're going to start advertising. They're probably going to start advertising on the Series S. If you want to put your games at Series X quality, stream them from xCloud.
Yep. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Okay. There's a reason why I'm smiling, John. You'll see this.
Okay.
Liam S. Hey, guys. Looking forward to the Rumourmill this week. Number 1. Shpeshal Ed replied to a rumor posted on the XboxEra forum from 4chan saying some of this might be true. Can you talk more about it? Personally, I hope the rumor about Platonic working with Rare on Viva Pinata game is true. I can't talk about it. Number 2. It's PlayFab's 3rd anniversary at Microsoft. And the leader of PlayFab did submit... All I said was that... all I said was that there may be some truth to some of this. Now, if you read that 4chan rumor, that 4chan rumor says a lot of things.
It does say a lot of things.
There's a lot of stuff. And, there's some stuff in there, like Halo's going to be 2021. Maybe I was just referring to that, because Halo is going to be 2021. And someone actually said that. Someone's like, maybe don't look too much into this post. He could just be referring to the obvious stuff. There you go. That might be what I'm referring to. We've spoken about how much we'd love a new Viva Pinata game.
Yep.
We've spoken about it before. I mean, Platonic doing a new Viva Pinata? That would be out of left field. most people assume that if Playtonic was working on anything for Microsoft, it would have been Banjo.
Correct.
Because I mean, Playtonic's history is ukulele, which is Banjo-Kazooie ukulele.
Yeah.
Ukulele? Like, so, you know, most people would have assumed Playtonic doing a Viva Pinata would be, wow. Is that, I don't know.
What would that even be like?
Yeah. All I said was there may be some truth in this post, but that was a big post.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot to parse through.
Yeah. That's all I can say.
Anyway, next question.
Number 2, it's PlayFab's 3rd anniversary at Microsoft, and the leader of PlayFab did some interviews. In one of them, he said they are starting to invest in machine learning AI-based content generation for game production. Have you heard anything about this? Seems like a real force multiplier manpower-wise. Haven't heard anything. I thought they were doing machine learning stuff, like direct-ML or whatever.
Yeah, there is capability there, but I am not technical enough to dive into it. I don't want to misquote him, but I believe Notian on the XboxEra forums, he's one of the staff. He's a big fan of this kind of technical discussion. He might be the best person to poke that question towards. He might be passionate enough to divulge and discuss. But yeah.
As a follow-on, one more about PlayFab. Lead programmer of ID joined Microsoft as the CTO of PlayFab in December. And during a PlayFab interview, the person being interviewed was asked if the technology at ZeniMax might be used to improve PlayFab. The person being interviewed said, paraphrasing, he was unable to comment because the acquisition was not final, but noted the PlayFab CTO, Travis Bradshaw, was formerly the lead programmer at ID Software working on the ID Tech engine, and the Doom Eternal uses PlayFab. Do you think ID Tech is going to become Microsoft's answer to Amazon Lumbia? We've spoken about this before. We said, you know, part of the reason Bethesda acquisition was so smart was because they own a great engine, the streaming tech,
Orion,
all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So safe to say, yes, to the question. Thanathorn, another one that's going to make me laugh a little bit. Both Yakuza and Dragon Quest are now available on Xbox. Both of these franchises seem like they'd never come to Xbox. Yet here we are. What Japanese game series that hasn't been released on Xbox do you think will make its way to Xbox next? Do I let you two answer this and I shut my mouth? Or do we talk about my tweet? Or what do we do?
I want to say...
Okay, so I put out a tweet. And I said that Yakuza probably isn't the only franchise Sega franchise, Microsoft
Sega.
are looking to bring to Game Pass. And a whole bunch of people started throwing guesses, and I wasn't going to reply to any of them.
You're not going to reply to them now.
No, that's why I said, should I just shut up and let you guys answer this question with what you think? Because if I answer this and I name a particular franchise, people are going to say, oh, well, that's coming because he's
I don't know. If I
named
named a particular franchise, I'd just be saying the one that I probably know it is. So I'm just going to say shit.
So you two give your guesses. And I'll shut my mouth.
Okay. I'm going to go
Sonic All-Stars Racing.
I'm going to give my genuine, honest guess.
Actually, no. Sonic All-Stars Racing.
It is the game series. It's got multiple games in it.
Yeah, there's three of them. Okay.
Persona.
Go, put your guesses.
I just said it.
What?
Persona.
Oh, okay. Persona. Okay. Cairo, you're sticking with Sonic Racing?
Yes, I'm going to stick for $100, Nick.
Okay.
Classic.
Again, I'm not saying anything. I put out my tweet, and I'm not allowed to say. So you guys can just put your guesses out there.
Hilarious.
So you're going with Persona, John?
No, the actual one I think is going to be Mario and Sonic.
So John, your guess is Persona, John?
Yeah, well, the only reason I would say Persona is because every time I see Yakuza's coming to Game Pass, blah, 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 99% of the time, the tweets are Persona when. it would stand to reason for me, which strikes me as odd, right? Because you're going to be a Persona fan already, then you've already played them, and you've already played them on PlayStation. So what do you care if it comes to Game Pass? Unless
Same
you just
thing with
wait.
the Yakuza stuff. That's the same.
I
That's the
suppose
same
that's
argument
true.
with the Yakuza.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Yakuza was the same.
But yeah,
That
apparently
was
it's
the
very
same.
popular. Go figure.
If you wanted Yakuza, then you would have bought a PlayStation, and yet they still got every single game on Xbox via Game Pass.
Yeah.
So you're saying, John, that your answer to this question is Persona.
Correct.
You think Persona will be the next series releasing on Xbox?
I reckon so.
Yeah.
And that's just a guess.
So you think Persona?
I don't know. I don't
Persona,
care.
right?
I would never play it. It's not my kind of game. But I
But
imagine
here's the thing: we all know, because Nick told us beforehand that it's going to be Sonic All Stars Racing. 100%. It's not going to be anything
Why
else.
isn't
So
the
don't get your
first
hopes
one
up.
backwards compatible?
I don't know.
Who knows?
Why isn't the first? It's really annoying. I've got it digitally on 360.
It's
and
the
not
only.
backwards
It's the
compatible.
only kart racer I enjoy that isn't Mario Kart.
It's the best one. The first Sonic and All Stars Racing game, the first one, not the transformed, the first one. It is like one of the best kart races ever made.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it's not
Speaking
backwards
of
compatible.
Yakuza, did you know in Yakuza Like a Dragon they made an entire kart racer for one mini game, and it is basically Mario Kart.
You know that in the Tourist, they made basically an F-Zero game in an arcade machine on it.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Shining. Yeah, they made basically an F-Zero game within
And
the
is
Tourist.
that you saying right now? I'm begging you, please make a standalone F-Zero game out of that.
I thought, I was under the impression, I've been told otherwise, but I was under the impression that Shining came to Nintendo and said, we want to make a new F-Zero game, and Nintendo said no. But then other people are telling me that it was the other way around, that Nintendo wanted Shining to do an F-Zero game, and Shining said no, which makes zero sense, because Shining made Fast RMX
Yeah.
for Switch. They made another RMX whatever game for the Wii U or Wii. They put an F-Zero game in the Tourist. If anything, they're telling Nintendo, hey, man, we want to make an F-Zero game.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I still think Microsoft should buy them too. So, so your final guess, is it Sonic as a franchise or just the Sonic racing games?
Sonic racing games.
Okay. And John, your Persona. You believe Persona will come next.
I think so. It makes sense to me.
Yeah. Okay. Persona. You're going with Persona. Okay. Beast Mode 10. Oh, no, he's replying. No, that's not a question. Good. Reva93, Zach. It's the 20th anniversary of Xbox this year. We've already had a leak for a remastered Stubbs coming out in March. Yep. And then we have the ever-present Control rumors. My question is, if you could choose one game from the original Xbox to have remastered, which game would you choose and why? This is similar to the last question.
I was going to say, I swear we've
but this is
answered
a remaster, though. This is a remaster. So, which game? Well, I would have said Halo, but that happened. See, the problem, but here's the thing, though. When OG Xbox games go backwards compatible, they effectively get remastered.
Yeah, but there's a difference. Like, you can increase. Like, if it was my pick, I would say Ninja Gaiden Black. But if you play that
that's
now,
like 4K 60 now.
Yes, but there's so much more that could be done with textures and
I
lighting,
know.
and that's the difference. I think
I know.
I still love it.
Yeah, I guess so. Then my answer would be Sega Soccer Slam.
Good.
No, NBA Street Volume 2.
Sure.
Both.
How many more questions we got?
Not that many. And we're doing okay,
Okay.
I think. Hold on. Where am I? Bigsy. Hi all, hope you're doing well. My question for the podcast is this. With the release of details and the trailer for Mass Effect Legendary Edition, what is your favorite BioWare game of all time and why? Anthem.
What?
Because it's like one of the only BioWare games I've played.
100%.
And I like
It's Mass Effect 2 for me
I've played Mass
personally.
Effect 1.
But
I'm a
the
little
whole
bit through it.
trilogy is probably my favourite sci-fi video game trilogy of all time. In terms of that isn't Halo, because Halo's technically sci-fi, but it's more an FPS. So yeah, Mass Effect 2 for that particular one. Aside from the Human Reaper, everything else was just Like I remember when I went through the Omega Relay in Mass Effect 2, and I'd done all the prep work, and my Normandy was badass and all that sort of stuff. That cutscene was like, I still to this day, like if you think of cool sci-fi battles like Return of the Jedi against the Death Star, Battlestar Galactica when the ships are facing off in the remake series, those kind of things, the Omega Relay is up there. So much so that my parents, who are sci-fi nerds, which is where I get my love of science fiction from, I was like, you're never going to play this, you're never going to see it, and it would be an amazing TV show, but Mum, you've got to check this out. And she watched it and she was like, oh, this is really intense. So I was like, yeah, it is. It's really good. So yeah, hands down, Mass Effect 2, easily my favourite BioWare game. Just so good.
Figments?
Figments?
Well, because my thing is, like, at the beginning of your question, my internet was cutting in and out. So I didn't... It was like...
Favourite BioWare game?
Favorite BioWare game? Dragon Age 2. Fair. Which is one that a lot of people in the Dragon Age fandom, I guess, hate. Because you only got to play as humans, and you were only in one city, and like two or three ancillary areas. BioWare was on a tight time schedule for releasing the game, so they reused a lot of assets for the levels. Like, literally multiple quests have you going to the same underground area. That's just you enter from different ways, and that's it. Wow. But I really enjoyed the story. I really liked that it was much more focused on what felt like a smaller, more personal journey than some world-spanning epic quest. Like, I tried playing Dragon Age Inquisition, and I fell asleep. It was so boring how trite and cliche it was. But I felt like Mass Effect, Dragon Age 2 was like, they, because of their tight time schedule, which I'm assuming is why it was like that, they ended up going with a much smaller in scope story that I appreciated a lot more than something like that.
And shout out for Jade Empire as well. What about you?
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Oh, you said Anthem, didn't you? 'Cause you're strange.
Yeah, Anthem's good. Beast Mode 10. Hi guys, love the podcast. This is my first question here. This is an interesting one because I wanted to bring this up earlier and I didn't, so I'm glad this question's here. Should Xbox try to give the 150 devs released by Stadia a new home within Xbox Game Studios? Yes. There seem to be over 300 positions open, and if you include the ZeniMax group, the total number is much higher. The gaming media seems to talk very highly of Shannon Studstill, and Jade Raymond. Do you think that Xbox should just grab the studio as is and add it as a freshly created studio? Now, someone tweeted at Phil and Matt Booty saying, hey guys, grab Jade Raymond and give her a studio or give her a job, blah, blah, blah. And Jade Raymond liked that tweet.
Yep.
Which is interesting. I know it may not mean anything, but it's still,
it doesn't.
She saw that tweet from a random person.
She might actually.
I would.
Maybe I wouldn't be surprised to see her turn up at the initiative at some point.
Yeah.
I would say this. Microsoft have, and indeed, a lot of their staff were posting all of the jobs that they had going.
Yeah.
Microsoft have over 468 open positions within Xbox Game Studios across the entire group.
And a leadership position just opened up at the initiative.
So, yeah, it's...
I reckon she could be a good fit for Perfect Dark.
Yeah, could be. But yeah, I don't know the legalities of just swooping in and saying, oh, you've kicked these guys out. We're just going to take them all, give them a room, buy all the gear, and they're a studio again. I don't know how...
You reckon they'd have non-competes?
Possibly. I don't know the game dev world well enough to understand if that is the case.
Google are dumb. Google wouldn't even know to put...
I feel really sorry. What was the company that was it Typhoon? Got acquired by Stadia? And then I think I saw a tweet the day before, and it was something like, oh, hey, this... I can't remember what game it is. It might have been Journey to a Savage Planet. Was it that? That's what they made?
Was it?
But he put out Employee of the Month edition, what a time to be alive. And I wonder if he knew at that point before the news broke, because it was the day before. I mean, Imagine that. Hey guys, I've signed a deal, or his company signed a deal to be acquired, and now everyone has lost their jobs. Man, gutting.
And this is where all that negativity about Microsoft comes from with the acquisitions, because most of those, I won't call them fanboys, most of those people are still in that mindset of Microsoft's closing Lionhead and Microsoft's getting rid of this studio and closing Ensemble, and it's. I don't think it's that Microsoft anymore.
No,
like Jeremy mentioned this on the Xbox 2 podcast, and he said that it can't be underestimated what a big deal it is that Microsoft is that Xbox is no longer under Terry Myerson.
Yes, it's a huge
He's like,
deal.
it cannot be under it, because he said, and he brought this up, and I actually never thought about it. He goes, look at Windows. He goes, Windows at the moment is like an unmitigated disaster, basically, currently, with what they're doing, and it's directionless, and like Microsoft was under that. Why do I keep saying Microsoft? Xbox was under that.
Yeah.
That mess. Like, he goes, you can't underestimate what a big deal that is.
Yeah, that's why the store, by the way, is tied to the Windows Store, everything in the back end, and why it was so difficult for them to pass it and break it out.
Yeah.
Because they were forced to be that carrier to try and get people to use the store. Oh, we'll put our games on it. Oh, yeah, but it's not really designed for it, and it's going to be horrible. It's one of the reasons why. Thanks, Terry Myerson. Good work.
Yeah. So, yeah, we've gone off on a tangent now, but I think they should give some of those people jobs if they can, especially Jay.
We'll see. I don't know. I think there's non-competes. I could be wrong. Probably more for leadership positions than your average game developer. But I don't know, because if you're going to fire someone, you can't really tell them to not go and get another job. It doesn't really work that way.
Yeah.
So,
all right. I really want to go to this question because it's a good one. I like this question. Johan Cruyff is the name on the forum. Ciao, guys. Got a question this time, quick and dirty. You think we will ever see a game release only on Game Pass? Not on sale, no physical copies, just Game Pass. So do I, but I like this question. That's a good question. And I think it will happen someday.
I tell you what I think it will be. I think it will be whatever successor that 1 versus 100 is going to be, that will be an exclusive Game Pass show. Because it's got to be digital only.
Something like a Don't Nod, Telltale episode.
Or a story episodic thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon something like that.
Or
You'll never
some
see
art
something
house
like a Halo.
Or some art house thing that's trying to do something different with the format. Say a game that you play, a game that's exclusive to Game Pass, where you play it and you get the good ending, and now the game deletes itself from your hard drive and you can't even play it anymore. Because if you paid $60 for that, you'd be pissed. But because it's part of Game Pass, you're like, okay, that's an interesting experience. What else do they have for me? You know?
Yeah. Or how about this? How about this as speculation? So, obviously, every time Microsoft releases one of their traditional AAA games, like a Halo, Gears, Forza, whatever, they would have data, obviously. They would have data that tells them, okay, so Halo Infinite, we sold only 3 million copies boxed. We sold 5 million copies digital, but we gained X number of Game Pass subscribers as a result of Halo. With Forza, and they'd look at the metrics of all of it, and they might wait 5 years and release all their big games and see where the metrics fall. What if they were to turn around and go, okay, this particular AAA IP actually grew Game Pass more than all the others? How about in the future, the sequel to this game is Game Pass exclusive for a AAA one? Like,
it's possible.
If we posit a world where Microsoft does have the balls to release a AAA IP exclusive to Game Pass, maybe they spend the next 5 years looking at the metrics of which of those AAA IPs gained them the most Game Pass subscribers versus digital and physical, and then release that game's sequel as an experiment in an attempt to boost Game Pass further. Say, okay, because they're not going to do that with something like Halo, right? It just wouldn't happen. But something that's big but not crucial, maybe they will. in
I
an
don't know.
attempt.
As
to
soon as
boost
I
Game
hear
Pass.
that phrase, I picture the same amount of uproar that you get from people about always online or mandatory DRMs. I just don't know.
But like,
I don't know if it's
Game
ever going to
Pass
be worth.
is their future.
Yes, but is it ever
Like-
going to be worth the negativity? Because if you want to make it exclusive to Game Pass to drive Game Pass adoption, fine. But you're not going to lose anything by also releasing it on retail. That's the point of the system, is that you, no matter what way me or you or Figments as a consumer wants to play a game, I can pay for a disc, I can pay for a digital download, I can add it as my subscription service. They don't care. Either way, they've got you, right? By cutting off those other two. I get where you're coming from. As an experiment, it would be fascinating. But I don't think they'd ever take the risk with something huge. The argument, in my opinion, is to say, oh, okay, we've got 1 versus 100. It's exclusive to Game Pass customers because it's small and it's kind of like you've got to be there and you've got to be online and you've got to have an Xbox to even play it, or xCloud or blah, 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 blah. That I see more, something like that is more likely to be Game Pass exclusive than any.
But I'm talking
AAA
like
vehicle.
5 years down the track.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
by
I
that
still think the logic isn't.
By that time,
there.
digital will be probably 80 or 90%. GameStop will probably have gone under. You know, Game Pass
It won't go
probably
under if people keep buying the stock just to spite hedge funds.
Yeah. You know, they might be at 30, 40, 50 million Game Pass subscribers. I don't think it would be something as outrageous in 5 years plus time. Yes, now it would be insane. But in 5+ years time, and again, I'm not suggesting do it with like Halo, but they might do it with the next Sea of Thieves if there's going to be another Thieves. They might do it with State of Decay 4. They might do it with, I don't know, something like that.
It's possible, but I think I don't think so, even in 5 years. But hey, 5 years is a long time. Who knows?
I'm just trying to see.
I think that's got to be. I'm sure that's near the last one.
There's other.
Last one. Pick one at random.
That's
Pick
not a
one. Last question.
Make it a good one.
No, hold on.
No. Yes, pick one.
No, whatever. No. Apache. There's not actually that many questions left. A lot of this stuff is like replies to other stuff and whatever. Apache. Do you think we get a Zelda collection this year? And which games will it include? Hey, Apache, I know this wasn't in the rumor mill, but there is going to be a Zelda collection.
Dun, dun, dun.
I don't know what games will be in it, though. There's also going to be Metroid Prime Trilogy. There's going to be Metroid 5. Hopefully, I'm not saying too much. And I'm hoping that the article makers don't say anything.
Oh, they
Skyward Sword HD
They've already
as well.
timestamped this specific part.
There's also going to be Skyward Sword HD. Remember I said Nintendo's having a big year. Anyway, what else?
If you're still scrolling, I think that's it.
Stephen Paniagua asked one that we've really covered. Stephen talks about Discord and acquisitions.
All right. I think we should call it there then.
Hold on.
No. Nick,
that's
come on.
Reply.
Nick,
heard any
come on.
rumors about Japanese game studios or collaborations? No, we've
I have
covered
to eat
that.
dinner, Nick. Come on.
Battlefield 6. All right, so really there's only one question left. Only one.
Okay.
Yeah, the one we just did. Let's go.
By Delroy. What's one game or genre that you used to be hot for but have since cooled, and why? I used to play Madden obsessively every year, day one purchase, etc., but fell off at the first game on 360. I just wanted to spend more time experiencing different games, and Madden was a roadblock. Since I dropped it, I've been able to play and finish more games, and my gaming has been better off for it. My answer to this is FIFA. I was the most religious FIFA purchaser ever. I got 94. I got FIFA, the original FIFA on Mega Drive in 94. Bought it every year since, up to and including FIFA 10, which was in 09. And then after I played FIFA 10, I think around that time EA started releasing demos of FIFAs.
Yeah.
So each new FIFA would get a demo around that time. And I tried the FIFA 11 demo and I was like, this is FIFA 10. So I skipped FIFA 11. And then I tried the FIFA 12 demo, and I'm like, this is FIFA 10. And I skipped FIFA 12. And then the FIFA 13 demo came out. I was like, this is FIFA 10. Like, they're just re-releasing FIFA 10 every year with roster changes. And then I bought FIFA 17. So I had a 7-year gap.
Wow.
And FIFA 17 actually felt kind of different. So I bought it. And then FIFA 18 demo, I'm like, this is FIFA 17. And then FIFA 19, I was like, this is FIFA 17.
Oh, man.
And like, so yeah, FIFA is mine.
I would probably say open world games in general. When I was younger and had more time, I used to really get involved in these worlds, and it scares me because I really want to replay Mass Effect, right? And I know it's not open world, but it's huge and it's expansive.
Yeah.
And 2007 me, I had no children, and a very, 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 very patient other half back then. I just don't see me being able to do it this time, and it scares me because I really want to play them through. But I'm gonna take the plunge anyway, and hope that I can re-experience these games because they were a big part of my that 360 generation for me.
Yeah.
I loved it. So yeah, open world games though, I always buy them, fall into the hype, play them for 20 minutes, and realise that I don't have any care about the world. So it takes a lot. What about you, Figments?
Cairo? Figments?
Call of Duty.
You play Modern Warfare, though.
No, but here's the thing. Modern Warfare was the first Call of Duty I've played in 6 years.
Wow.
Okay.
Because I started with COD 4, and I got COD 4 the year like a month after Modern Warfare 2 launched. So that COD 4 was like one of the best games I'd ever played at the time. It was my first experience with multiplayer, like online multiplayer. Same with Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare 3, I got that game. That was the first Call of Duty game I got day and date on launch. And
super
me and my brother,
Call of Duty.
Super underrated. It was the first time Activision had done the yearly subscription, the season pass, for the entire year. And just how they treated subscribers. If you were subscribed to Call of Duty Elite, which is what they called it at the time, you got two new maps every month for like 8 months. You got new content every month. You got new events every month. Scheduled double XP weekends, prestige tokens, and all this other awesome stuff just for having paid an extra $60 to get the season pass, right? And me and my brother played the crap out of it. Multiplayer, split screen, all the time. This is back before we each had separate consoles. We were still using one old 360 arcade. So that was one of the best experiences I've ever had in gaming in a long time. Black Ops 2.
So your answer is Call of Duty.
Yeah, my answer is Call of Duty. Black Ops 2 pissed me off.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty Ghosts was disappointing. And then I just really stopped playing Call of Duty for a while.
Yeah, so did I, actually.
Yeah, I gave up after Modern Warfare 2. I was just like, this is the same game.
I stopped after 3 for a long time.
Yeah.
And then got a free copy of Advanced Warfare.
I really gave up after 3 when I tried playing Black Ops 2, and I'm like, I really just don't like Treyarch. I really don't like how they make games. I really don't like the style of it. It feels bad to me for me to play. And like every other game after Black Ops 2 was basically just taking Treyarch's formula and running with it. And it's like, I don't like Treyarch's formula. Can I please go back to classic Infinity War?
The last physical game I actually ever bought was Call of Duty. Is Advanced Warfare the one with Kit Harington and spaceships?
No, that's Infinite Warfare.
Infinite Warfare, that one. And the only reason I got that...
I will complain endlessly about, because you don't put Kit Harington, a man who has the face of an angel, as the lead villain role. Yeah. It doesn't work.
Well,
Like, he was a space Nazi, and he can't pull off villain. He can't.
Well, I tried. I heard that it was just a phenomenal campaign, and I like sci-fi, so I saw a really, really knocked down in price double disc set of that and the COD 4 remaster.
And I bought it.
And that was the last
with this tangent we've been on, we could have answered like another question or two.
Yeah.
Hey.
Okay, we're done. I have to go to dinner, so
We could have addressed that other question or two on that Call of Duty tangent.
We'll
I don't think there was more than one or two more anyway. A lot of these are like replies to other stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll leave it there. You
We'll
did
leave
say
it there.
that there's a lot, and we're not going to be able to get to all
That's
of
a
them.
long one. We've just hit 2 hours 45 minutes in 5 seconds. So as always, as we draw this wonderful ride to a close, we'd like to thank our patrons and our community for being so thorough with your questions. We're really going to have a sit down and talk to you guys about this. But really, really love the support. Thank you to all our listeners and everyone on YouTube. As always, if you're new to the XboxEra Podcast, don't forget to actually hit like, subscribe, drop a comment, talk to us, become part of the community, because there's lots of stuff to enjoy. And yeah, we'll be back in maybe 2 weeks, maybe sooner. Don't know. We're going to discuss it, right? We'll see what happens on that front. But yeah, other than that, I think we'll close it out there. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you next time. Ciao for now.
See you, everybody.
Ciao for now.